All right. So we're just gonna kind of wait for folks to file in. All right. Wait for y'all to file in.
They can see us.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm just waiting for it to pop up on my screen because I'm watching the stream. So I'm waiting for it to pop up on my stream and let me know what's good. Okay, it's popping up. All right, we good. Everything is Gucci, at least on my end. All right. So I have shared this stream on my end. Y'all can go ahead and share it on yours.
Gotcha.
All right. Hey. But yeah,
I think this would be
I'm excited for this. Yeah, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We'll be able to disagree, not have no issues, no fifis. Just grown adult conversation about grown adult things.
I agree.
Hell yeah.
Make sure y'all hit that like button too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Likes are free. Please hit that like button.
Exactly. They are free 99. Okay, free 99. So go ahead.
Taxes are included because of tariffs, so taxes are included.
That was funny.
Yeah, I will say the price went up. It's $3.99. It's $3.99 now.
when Sandra when she pop up in my live stream, I always fucking forget to say hit the like button, and then she always pop in, hit the like. I'm like, oh yeah, please do that. It's so easy to forget.
Hey, that's why that's my tag in my videos. Leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then you got to do all three.
Hell yeah.
Just one of them. That's all. That like ain't nothing.
Absolutely.
I think people fail to realize how important just that small thing impacts your stream.
It does.
You know? Yeah, it impacts a lot.
It really does.
Okay.
That's why, like, I don't even be getting mad when folks come through and dislike all my videos. I'm like, shit, give me the engagement. Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
They think they hurt me. They're like, I'm gonna dislike this bitch.
I don't even work that way.
It sure doesn't. You just, you're interacting with my channel, dummy.
That's all that matters.
You put money in my pocket. Shoot, thank you for coming.
On me.
It's like people think our feelings are hurt. I don't give a fuck if you dislike the video. The thing is, people that make content or have been making content for a long time or a relatively long time, whatever, we know that this is going to come with criticism. So when we see a negative response, we aren't scared. We're just like, yeah, that comes with the territory.
Yep.
Right. You could say the most simplest shit like grass can be green. And folks
somebody gonna fucking dislike it.
They'll be like, wait a minute, grass can be brown. Like I said, it can be. I didn't say it's always. Like,
wait a minute.
Folks be thumb thugging, okay? I don't know if y'all seen that video before. Thumb thugging.
Thumb thugging.
Right.
I never heard that one.
Really?
Thumb thugging is crazy.
What I say?
Okay.
I think what I said. Not I had said it wasn't thumb thugging, but I had a quote like that. I forgot what it was though. I said it a minute ago.
The next one I'm gonna start using. I got this from Michelle McDaniel's. Paragraph people. I'm gonna start calling them paragraph people.
Oh my gosh!
I watch her. I like her.
Bro, paragraph people is so fucking perfect. That is actually perfect. Because I don't know how many times I've said this in live streams, but if you type me a paragraph, odds are I'm not gonna read that shit. I promise you, I don't care. Like it's not that deep.
For me, it depends on how it starts. It depends on how it starts for me.
But usually if it's a paragraph, it's gonna start with some bullshit. When it comes to me, I don't know why. I never have gotten a constructive paragraph ever in my life.
I actually had a nice little back and forth with somebody in my comments that left a paragraph that was constructive. They weren't trying to just name call. They literally had a contention, and we had a nice little back and forth. It wasn't no name calling, none of that shit.
Well, I'm jealous. Good for you.
He said I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's good for you. Damn it.
I have one person that leaves me paragraphs. Dayton, he's the homie. So when he writes his paragraphs, I read them. Okay, because he's the homie. He's the homie. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know that I shouldn't leave paragraphs anymore because I know I'll be leaving them on Sandra. But obviously now I just realized you don't even read mine. It's only dating. It's only dating.
Damn paragraphs.
I'll leave nice statements, some very healthy statements.
I think we're confusing the length of the paragraph. Okay, if it's just a few lines, like that's cool. I'll talk about the motherfuckers to be you scrolling down trying to get to the end just so you can say
full blown Harry Potter novel. Fuck no, I'm not reading it.
Right.
That's funny.
No.
That's funny.
Like,
Well, I want to say shout out to everybody that's in the stream right now. We up to 68 people, which means we should at least have
Damn, that's lit.
Let's go, Sandra.
Let's go, Sandra. Go ahead.
We should have it, but we should have at least a tenth of likes. So can y'all hit that like button before we about to jump into this conversation? I do want to say shout out to my wife. She tuned in tonight as well.
True.
Yeah, shout out to my wife, official Mama Shrimp in the building, and Matthew. What up, bro? Shout out to Meesick locked in with us as well. We got some people in the chat. So how y'all feeling? Y'all ready to have this discussion or what? I mean, because I think it's something that everybody want to talk about. You know, that's locked in right now anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with everything that's going on. Most definitely.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
well, what's up? No, I was just saying. With that being said, like I know it's going to be one of those conversations that we're going to have a lot of different opinions. Because things are such a widespread notion these days that things aren't like they were back 20, 30 years ago. So we're going to have some nice opinions, and I think we can have a really good conversation with them.
Absolutely. Right. And I know a lot of people getting their feelings about this topic because they feel like if you say something, you talking about their situation specifically.
Yep.
True.
But,
yeah, for sure.
I think we're grown. Okay, we're all grown here. We can have an honest conversation without, anything getting too crazy. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Like everybody said, hit that like button. That mofo is free. Okay, it's free 99. It gonna cost you nothing, but it will do something very special for all of us. Also, in the description box below, you're gonna find all of our channels. Right. So if you're on the stream, you're already on my channel. Okay, y'all on my shit. But what I want you guys to do is I want you to go into the description box and hit up all the homies in the panel and give them a like, a sub, watch some videos, get to know us, because we're going to be here, okay? We're going to be here on Thursdays, control-alting and debating, okay? That's the name of this panel is Control-Alt-Debate. And this is just going to be a nice space for us to come have grown folk conversations, be honest, talk about the things that matter, and talk about it in a way that we're getting rid of all the noise, all the BS, and then all the emotional mofos, okay? If you looking for somebody to scream and cry, go over to Fresh and Fit, okay? They got the screaming and the crying. They got all of that for you. But we over here, we having grown folk conversations.
All right. Sounds good to me. I'm ready whenever y'all are.
All right, let's get to it.
So, with everything that's been happening with the Shannon Sharp situation, okay, I don't know if y'all are all abreast to it, but this old man, okay, he's in his late 50s, I believe. He's getting caught up with a 19-year-old, okay? He done got caught up with this 19-year-old, and now she's suing him for filth, saying that he did XYZ to her. Now, everybody's getting into the whole thing about false allegations and things like that, and that's a conversation that can be had. But I think we should talk about this idea of age gap dating. When is it appropriate? When is it not appropriate? Because some people, they believe that, well, legal age, that's all that matters. While others are like, hey, look, you old enough to be her grandfather. What are you doing? So I just want to kind of open it up with getting everybody's perspective on age gap dating, and then we can kind of get into the conversation. So let's go ahead and start with the corner and then work our way. Okay, so
I don't know what your view doing, so
yeah, I don't know which corner you're talking about because I got you in a vertical. I got you in a vertical.
Don't have me out here like Usher. He over here doing all this. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
I was about to say it's a square. We got four corners.
You talking about what he thought he was? You talking about what he thought he was in the middle?
Yeah. Hilarious.
He was in the middle. He no, all this, but looking at nobody.
That shit was funny. So I think that it's a pretty boring take, but I do think that it's not a problem until it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's of course legality aside, like when it's legal, I don't think it's a problem until it's actually a problem. So If you're 19, 20 and you want to date a man that's 50, I think it's weird. I think a lot of things are weird. I think things I wouldn't do. I don't get a lot of shit that people want to engage in. But if y'all happy and nobody's taking advantage of the other, cool. I mean, I don't really have an issue. You know, like I said, the real issue is it can be a problem, but it's not necessarily one off top. So,
Okay.
That's fair. That's
All
fair.
right. That's understood.
All right. So what's up? What's up, vibes? What's your take?
Well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. You said 50 was old. So I can't allow you to throw anybody that's of the age of 50 as grandpa age. First of all, that ain't gonna ride. I'm 39. I'm probably the elder of all of you all, of course. But the thing about it is that I think when it comes to age, how a person looks and feels determines everything, right? It determines everything. So we can before you ever see anybody drive a license, before somebody ever tell you their age, we only assume what they could possibly be because they may remind you of a father or uncle or somebody like that based on their actions, right? But in totality, I have met a lot of young guys with old souls. They dress like my uncles. They dress, you know. So the aspect of age is honestly it's a metaphysical thing when it comes to how you perceive yourself and how you feel about yourself. Now, my mother, I would consider her old because how she carry herself. My mother been through a lot. I'm being honest. I love my mama. She know it, but my mama carry herself like an older woman, like an old woman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm married to an older woman, but my wife is not old by no means. She's sexy as I don't know what. Now, I don't even know how I got her, to be honest. But at the end of the day, when it comes to calling Shannon Sharpe old, I have to disagree with that. I think the man is in his prime. He's a prime fit guy. He works out. He keeps himself healthy. You know what I'm saying? He's financially in a good position. But now let's get to the point of age gap. Is there a certain point where age gap is a problem? It is. And I'm going to be honest with that. It's a problem when the manipulation tactics start to come into play. When an older man is getting with a young lady to manipulate her to from what I heard in this video, right? From what I heard in this video, sounds like he was on some manipulation stuff that I've grew up around. I'm from Mississippi. The pimp mindset is heavy in Mississippi. I'm a pimp. Oh, I got multiple women. I'm a player. And they do this up until they're 65 years old. And then they start dating younger women and they try to keep them on this hook and try to reel them in. So I get it, but I think that's what I've seen about the Shannon Sharpe situation is that he's trying to use this pimp mentality, this player mentality, this manipulation tactic on a young girl, which I consider wrong. But go ahead.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of what you said I actually do agree with because for example, you said 50 isn't old, right? Yo, there are kids today like that are in their 20s that call me Unc.
Same here, bro.
I'm 31, bro. I'm turning 31 in May, dog, next month. And you calling me Unc? 30 is so young. But I do understand with what you're saying, and I also agree with you, Vibe, when you say it's a problem. And Logic's also said this. It's only a problem until it becomes one, essentially.
Exactly.
Like, especially when the manipulation comes into play. But let me say this. Usually this is an issue for men like Shannon Sharpe who have, you know, the influence, the money, they have access to these, you know, younger women. But let me say this, just because you have access, it doesn't mean that you should indulge. Okay, look, I went to PWI. If you guys do not know what a PWI is, it's a predominantly white institution. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University. All right, I went to a lot of white frat parties. There's a lot of cocaine. Okay, you would walk in the door, cocaine out on the table. They would offer it to you like it was candy. But does that just because they offer it to you, does that mean that you should indulge? Nah.
You did.
No, I never. No, first of all,
the white horse.
No. Let me tell you something. When you watch people do cocaine, it doesn't look fun at all, and they always got to make a noise after they do a line. Like, I don't understand. Like, nothing about it looks fun. But anyway. Yeah, that much. Yeah, that much I will say, and I personally think it is weird when a 50-year-old would date a 19-year-old just because I couldn't do it mentally. Just because they look a certain way, I understand. Like, that's great. But mentally, I really could not put up with it. Because can you guys imagine the conversations that you would have with a 19-year-old while you're in your 50s?
Bro, I don't want to talk to them now. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I think, and again, I'm married. My wife is in here, but I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk freely. And I'm gonna ask free questions, and I hope that you all are open to answering them, whether you do or not. That's on you.
Yeah.
And watch, you're married, right? I'm assuming. Watch, you're married.
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. Do you mind telling me or telling us how old your wife is? If she don't mind everybody knowing her age. I don't know.
No. She's also 30. Yeah.
She's okay. So you marry someone that's your age, all right?
Yeah.
And Lord behold, if you, let's say this never happens, but if you was to get divorced, your heart's broken, you start to play the field again,
right?
And a 19, 20-year-old woman see you and want to approach you, is that saying that you're going to say no to that? You're going to say no to that?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Yes. I am going to say no, just because I can't. I don't think I have the patience for it. I don't care how good you look. You body could be banging, but when it come to this, bro, my meat be like Jello. Like, I wouldn't be able to get a hard one. I have to be stimulated intellectually.
You're a sapiosexual. We get it. You're a sapio. I got you.
So skip this.
Wait, what age did you say? What vibe? What age did you say?
The age he is now. At the age he is now.
No, how old is the woman?
19, 20.
Wait, so watch, you ain't gonna just smash though?
He didn't ask. Well,
no. See, that's
what you asked.
No. Oh. First of all, I just said, "Are you gonna turn away?" I didn't say if you're gonna smash, date, or nothing.
Yeah, that's why. Because
okay, that's true. Honestly, even then, it would still depend. If I felt like
the circumstances got to be right.
Yeah, their circumstances has to be right. Like, if I felt like she was a little more mature for her age, possibly. But even then, I'm still probably gonna say no, just because I have to be able to have intellectual conversations with you, and you haven't lived enough life at 19 years old.
You're a better man than most of us were.
All right. So Sandra, what about you, Sandra? How you feel as the lady in the group? What's your perspective on this?
As the token, yeah.
As the token, yeah.
As a token, okay.
You gotta be.
What's up?
I said you just gonna have to be token at this point.
Hey, I'm cool with it. But I'm gonna look at this from multiple perspectives, right? Because I did date someone that was much older than me before. Terrible experience. Do not recommend. But that was my experience, okay? I'm not going to say that that's everybody's experience, okay? I had a situation where I was with somebody that was manipulative, right? That was abusive. So that was my situation. But, I mean, my auntie and my uncle, they have a big age gap. And they're very happy, okay? They're very happy. And what's so funny about that situation is I was talking to my uncle, and he was like, yeah, I was telling her no. I was like, get away from me. I was telling her no. But we kept running into each other, and she kept pursuing me. And then after a while, just realized that they had, similar desires, similar, things that they wanted their family to be like. And they just worked. And so would I think that my uncle is a predator because they have this big age gap? No, I wouldn't say that.
Right.
Okay. I wouldn't say that because, like I said, the circumstances surrounding it, I can understand you meet somebody and y'all vibe on a level. And like you said, that maturity is there, your maturity kind of levels out. I can definitely see that. I agree with y'all too. I don't want us to be a big circle jerk of agreeing with each other, but I do agree that when there's a problem, then it becomes a problem. But I will also say this. What's up?
No, go ahead. Finish your statement.
The other perspective that I do want to look at this as a mother, right? How would I feel if when Bella turns 19, she come home with some 50-year-old man talking about, hey, I'm just like you. I have, a similar personality as you. I like the things that you like. I was watching Miss Rachel too. I was in my 30s, but I was watching Miss Rachel too. Okay. We gonna have a problem, and I'm not gonna say what would happen because I'm not gonna implicate myself. But it's a very tricky situation because it's like, would I want my 19-year-old daughter getting with a man that's my age or her father's age? No. Like, no. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be targeting 50-year-old. It's just that's just the number that's coming out right now. Okay, I'm not trying to say nothing against the 50-year-old. Okay.
I don't know.
Look, they in the chat. They like, hold on. You're gonna have to say 70 or something.
70, 75, 80. You know, but I agree with you, Sandra, to an extent, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Totally makes a lot of sense. But I have to ask this question because you brought up your uncle, right? You don't look at your uncle as a right. You don't look at him as a pervert. But let me ask you this question. How many of those situations had happened before your auntie for him to have been labeled a pervert? So say for instance, she wasn't the first. He found out she wasn't the first. And he had multiple younger girls her age before he actually chose her. Would that have made you look at him differently?
Yeah, because if you tell me that the reason why you didn't want to talk to my auntie was because she was too young, but then you have this whole history of dating too young, then I'm gonna be like, you being hypocritical. You just saying something to make it look better than what it is. Because then I would have a problem. But my uncle explicitly said, look, I wasn't trying to do this because of the age difference. It just wasn't for me. But then after they got to know each other, they had similar morals. And I mean, they're one of the happiest couples I've ever seen. And my uncle, like, I've been around him so many times. I know for a fact that he is not a predator. So it's just like, you know, there are things where it depends on the situation. But I also want to bring up this point. I do think that there is something psychologically wrong with someone who is so progressed in their life, looking at someone who is younger than them, and seeing someone that they would want to be sexual with, right? Because I feel like when we're aging and we're going through our seasons, I feel like if you are on the natural trajectory of things, you're going to look at the younger generation differently, right? So, for example, Justin has younger brothers. He has one that just turned 18. If I look at him, I'm seeing a child. I don't give a good goddamn if he can go buy cigarettes or not. I see a child. So it's like when you're moving through your life and you're doing it in a healthy manner and you're not, you know, regressing or being stuck in a certain mentality. If you are progressing through life the way that you're supposed to, when you see someone that is that much younger than you, you're going to see a baby. I don't care if they got their cleavage out, whatever. You're going to see a baby. I don't look at, you know,
I disagree. Sandra,
I was going to say, I don't know.
Sandra, this is a perspective. I'm sorry.
It depends.
I can't allow that to keep moving forward. Logic, go ahead, bro, because I got to hear this.
Like, yeah. Now, I will agree. Like, there is, I think your example was just somebody that was, you said Justin's, who was 18?
Brother.
That's family. That's family. So that's different.
I'm from Mississippi, bro. Sometimes it's not a difference. So, I'm just letting you know that.
Bro, I said, hey, if they like third degree away from you, it don't matter at that point. But regardless, no, like if you're 50 and you see a fine 21-year-old woman, I cannot judge you for being physically attracted to her because she's physically attractive. Like, I don't think, like, you can say she's a child, but she's not my child. She's not my family. Like, she's just a fine woman at that point, and she's a grown woman. And if she looks like a grown woman and she fine, I'm not judging a 50-year-old man for being attracted to her. Now, how you move, the problem is how you going about it. I don't see myself pursuing a woman that young if I were to ever be single again, which I ain't. But, if I was to be single, I'm not pursuing 20-year-olds. It's like what I said, the thought of dealing with somebody that young, unless she's exceptionally mature for whatever reason, maybe, but probably not. It won't happen beyond anything physical. So as far as dating and shit, you do have to have a certain level of maturity, in my opinion, and that would be based on the two individuals involved. But as far as just physically, you can't judge nobody for being attracted to somebody that's attractive.
Okay, I will say, so Logic, I do agree with you to an extent. Like, if I'm in we keep using 50-year-olds as an example.
Please don't use 50. Like, what the hell? It's more like let's just talk about an age, 20-year age gap. Can we put a basis on the 20-year?
I was basing on the difference. I'm not saying 50-year-old.
Right. I'm going to be extreme. If I'm 70, right? And and I look at a 21-year-old and I think that she's attractive, I think that's totally fine. Like you said, Logic, it just depends on how you act on it. But going back to what Logic said, when you look at, even though they're grown, when you look at the younger generation, and this may not be for you guys, but for me personally, I think it's weird. Like in my mind, like I think it's weird because I look at them and I'm like, how old were you when I was a full? I was drinking when you were in diapers.
That was then.
Bro, it doesn't matter. Like I said, this is for me personally. Like, just the thought freaks me the fuck out. I don't know why.
But see, that thought seems like it's embedded from something that's deeper. Because I don't think that thought comes about if you know that people grow the fuck up. It's like, I've had this people. I have a child. My child just turned 19, about to be 20. I think Sandra asked me this a while ago. We had this conversation. And the honest to God truth is, if my daughter had a friend and her friend was 24 years old today and she hit on me and I was single, just because she's my daughter friend and I knew her since she was 14, supposed to make that a problem? Like, you got to ask yourself that question. That's not my child. That ain't my motherfucking child.
You would take down your daughter's friend, bro?
If she's of legal fucking age? The fuck is you talking about? That's the question here. That's the problem we have. That's the problem we have right now. Is what I'm saying.
I don't fuck with virtue signaling, and I think that most men agree with you. I think most men agree with you, and I think it depends.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is, to me, if I saw you grow up, it does feel a little different than being introduced.
Feels a little different.
If my daughter go to college and come home with a college friend that's like 23 or 24, and I'm 40 and I'm single, I ain't gonna be single. But and that happened.
I feel you. Good way to clear it up.
I'm happy. I'm happily married. So I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with that. If it's just like that's what's happening. I just think that's if two people is making that decision, that's what's gonna happen. You know. And I think most men would say that unless they just trying to avert the signal. I'm not saying you don't really believe that. But.
No. Like I said, that was just for me personally. Like I wasn't. That's just genuinely how I feel, and just for me to like set the record straight. If I see it like an older guy with a younger girl, I'm not gonna judge. Like I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. But I think in the case of like a Shannon Sharp, it just depends. It's case by case. Like, bro, you are fucking Shannon Sharp. You're in the NFL Hall of Fame. Like, you have a very successful podcast, very successful YouTube channel. What the fuck are you doing fucking with a 19-year-old OnlyFans model? Thank you
for pointing it out.
That is an iOS 7.
Listen, I agree exactly what you're saying. But the thing is, 7, she definitely. But anyway, the thing is, right? I can't tell from the conversation that was dating or that was just his main little piece of meat that he was paying to hit every now and then. That's the thing. Like for him, this is my problem, right? If a man get to a point, right, where relationships are too difficult, I'm married, right? I probably would, if my wife decided to leave me today, I would never get married again. Because I don't want to have to, for a female to learn my farts. I don't want her to learn how I eat and how I sleep. I don't want her to know. I don't want to have to get to know her shit.
Oh my God. We have to talk about this one day.
Listen,
oh my God.
I'm being dead serious. I don't want to have to go through that learning phase anymore. To pay for a motherfucker to come through, service me up, and get the fuck on down, I'm okay with that. And as you get older, you understand that. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Bob, as a man, I think Logix and I agree with you because I feel the same goddamn way, bro.
You know how long it took me to like go to bed without socks on?
A long time. A long time.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever got into bed with a girl without socks before her. Ever. It's never happened.
Hey.
It took a while with that one. So like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to deal. Like you said though, I could fart and she just gonna be like,
yeah, I know what that shit smell like, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So but I understand what Shannon is at right now in his life. Like I understand where he's at. Like, I don't agree with the route he's going where he's threatening a woman and doing all of this shit to, you know, like, you shouldn't even have been involved with her to that extent. Like, it should have never been any point where he should have been involved with her to that extent. Now, him smashing a 19, 20, 21-year-old, he got no problem with that. He got no problem with that at all. But the dating part is my issue.
Now, I do want to give you a little pushback to this because context is key, right? So, Vibe, you've heard Justin say crazy stuff to me, okay?
Yeah.
And that's how we talk. Like, we'll walk up to each other and be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And it's just,
Exactly.
it's just,
I made an
that's how we
example like
greet.
that too.
That's how we greet each other, okay? That's how we greet each other. He says, "Sup, ho," and I'll be like, "What's up, nigga?" Like, we talk to each other like that. But
That's that dynamic, yeah.
But if I were to like be vindictive, I could record him. This is a one-party consent state. Okay, I can record him out of context. Okay, we have this rapport. We usually talk this way. If I were a manipulative female,
Manipulation.
I could record him saying these things to me and then frame it as, look how abusive Justin is to me. He just comes up to me and I'm just doing nothing and he just says, "Fuck you." And, you know, I could create a situation that really doesn't exist. So I'm not going to take those recordings and take them as face value, because if that's how they talk, if that's the freaky talk that they get into, you know, that, what's the word? I can't think of it, but like
BDSM.
that kind of,
BDSM, yeah.
If there, and also there was a little race play going on in there, talking about big black men choking out a white girl.
But man, I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of porn out there where black guys like to be called, you know, big black in a dick, you know what I'm saying? So
it's like I'm not gonna take that conversation and give it all the weights that everybody else is, just because I know how me and Justin talk. Okay, and if we wanted to clip each other out of context, we could, and it would look very bad in court. So
yeah, facts.
That's the pushback I'm gonna give on that.
Yeah.
I literally had that thought in my video.
Same.
I did a video on this Shannon video. I just posted it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it on Logics. I basically said the same thing. I said she could have been plotting this from day one. She's like, I'm gonna let him think I'm into BDSM and CNC, and then when it's time, I'm gonna flip it and frame him as just being abusive, and he probably hurt me. Cause that, like, I know you brought up, I don't know if you believed her or not, Vibe, but when she brought up the whole don't manipulate me, that response felt out of place.
It felt out of place.
It was just so it made no sense. So and you're recording it for some reason. So it's just like, why are you saying don't manipulate me when he said it is what it is? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It just made no sense. You know what I'm saying? And then we get texts that y'all clearly talk to each other crazy and like it. So you kind of doing damage to your own case, since this is something you're into. Now it's sticky, and you have to have it's not the reasonable doubt thing as far as a civil case. But I hope he don't pay our ass out. I want him to fight it. If he really think he ain't do it, he needs to fight that shit.
But see, what this will cause is this is a learning lesson for a lot of these rich and, you know, powerful men in society, and let's talk about black men like Shannon Sharp, to realize that when you doing these type of situations, or even if these situations, because again, I've been in the music industry with these rappers and what they do, and I see how they maneuver, and even my wife used to tell her boys all the time, make sure they sign an NDA before tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even after doing all of that stuff, these women look for ways. Even Offset, before he passed, he had was Offset Takeoff, one of them. Takeoff. He had a rape allegation case that happened to him in a hotel. So you can't prevent women or people. Let's not say women, because it could be some guys too. You know, but there's people out here that does stuff like this. You know, take the Dwight Howard situation. You know, all of this stuff can come about just because you didn't give someone the attention or the energy that they was hoping to get from you consistently, and then they flip the script on you, and stuff like this happens. But back to our original point about the age gap, if he was just have done what he done, paid somebody for services and moved on, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I think he was trying to date this girl. I really think he was trying to date this girl, and
which is insane to me, because I mean, to me personally, if I was in Shannon Sharp's position, like, that is a risk to date somebody that is that young, and somebody that you know she's an OnlyFans model. Look, and I'm sorry, I know OnlyFans models, they're not a monolith, but it's a huge red flag. And come on, why are you going to want to continue I'm not going to call it a relationship, situationship, or whatever. Why are you going to continue a situationship with somebody that says, oh yeah, 25K each cheek? 25K for each cheek?
Am I the only one that's confused? What does that mean?
I don't know. Is he biting each? I have no idea.
Everybody keep talking about, I don't even know what that meant. I don't get what that meant.
Still don't know what that means. Like, does it mean...
Did she want a BBL or something?
I don't know. Like,
does he have to pay? Yeah.
Does he have to pay 25K each time he smacks each cheek?
Well, like, I think she wanted some type of surgery done. I know that for sure. He wouldn't pay for it or something, but I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it's just weird to me. Let me ask y'all this, because I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar. Like, and this is again, I ask crazy questions. But how old was each one of y'all when y'all lost y'all virginity? I was 14 and I lost my to a 14-year-old.
Okay.
Is that the same with you all? Y'all lost?
I was 17 and she was like 18, I think.
All right, 17, 18.
Yeah, I was 13 and she was 14.
Okay, yeah, around the same.
Y'all were so
I don't know if you want to jump in this conversation or not, Sandra. It's your call.
No, I was 19. I was 19.
19.
I'm so glad Sandra is the saint out of all of us. Good,
right,
good
right.
shit, Sandra.
And just out of curiosity, how old was the person?
I want to say he was 17. He was either 17
or
or 18.
All right, cool. So you was the older in your situation. All right, understood. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in Chicago, the legal age of consent is 18.
It's 17.
17. Mississippi is 16. Virginia, I think, is 17 as well. And I think Oklahoma is 16. The reason why I'm bringing this up because Josh Giddey was sleeping with a 15 or 16-year-old in Oklahoma when he was playing there, and it was a big news article, but nothing ever happened to him. Like, there was so many people that came for his neck, but nothing happened to him because legally he had the consent from the parents and the daughter at the time. And I felt at the time that was wrong. But now that I look at it from the perspective of the problem isn't the fact that it happened. The problem is the fact that the people who allow these laws to stay in place is the problem. Like, the laws of age of consent is the real problem. Not the fact that these guys are using. It's no different than Trump saying, hey, I'm using these tax breaks because your people created them for them to use, and I just found a hole to be able to use them as well. It's no different from anybody finding a loophole to anything like that. Everybody they put laws in place that they neglect over. There was a point in time where a woman or a guy, had to bring a fucking cow to somebody else who was much older and give their daughter away to them, and to show that they was worthy of that man's hand. So these laws have been in place for many of years, and we can't be the ones to say that these people are wrong for that if the laws aren't changing. The laws have to change first. Now, our perspectives and speaking on it is cool, but we can't judge any man for staying within the realms or within the limits of the law until the laws are changed.
Right.
Yeah, correct. No, like I said, go ahead.
Sorry, but okay, talking about the laws, over in Japan, I think the age of consent was like 8 years old or something crazy like that.
Japan?
Is it that?
Hold on, you said Japan?
8 or 12 in Japan.
In Japan?
I think they recently changed it. So it's like, and
they probably do it when they could hit puberty or something.
And this is why, like, when it comes to the legality part of it, I think that it's not so cut and dry with that. Depending on what it is, I will judge. Because you have folks, and it's not just men, it's women too, that will go to these countries where the age of consent is 12, and they will go over there, and it's called sex tourism, and they will go over there and they will abuse small children, and now just because it's legally allowed there doesn't make it right.
Those are pedophiles that's just trying not to go to jail.
Yeah.
They just trying not to go to jail.
So, the law could be whatever it is, but right and wrong is still gonna be right and wrong. I mean, slavery was
right, but what's right and wrong is a moral perspective. That's a moral compass that everybody carries individually. That's a moral compass that everybody carries individually.
To say right and wrong in this type of situation. Now, I'm not saying that it's right to be with the 12-year-old. Jesus Christ.
That's fucking crazy. Like, let's just get it a buck. That's
Yo,
crazy.
hold up, Logics, tread lightly for the love of God.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Period.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, that's what I said. I'm not saying that's like I'm not putting that in the category of is possibly right. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But what I am saying is it's hard to be like somebody's wrong for being with a 16-year-old if it's always been legal and their culture accepts it as legal, because the number at the end of the day has to just be chosen. Whether it's 18, 16, you know what it just got to be picked at a point. You can't, I don't know, unless we're going to sit around and make a barometer of brain scans to when they feel like you're the most mature, and I don't know, and that would take a lot of time and money. So, we got to pick a number, and that's just what happens. So I can't necessarily be like, it's wrong to date a 16-year-old if 16 has been legal in this country for X amount of years and that's what their culture accepts. I don't know if I can say that's wrong.
Because again, morality is based off of location, religion, religious perspectives, and pretty much finances. That's what the morality
it's weird to us.
Yeah, it's weird to us. But the morality compass of individuals across the board, like Mississippi morality is definitely different than Chicago's if they're changing.
Nigga, you ain't lying.
You know what I'm saying? If the number is 16 there and Oklahoma is 16, and then you got places like New York and stuff who has a higher one, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, there's no clear-cut morality or moral compass for Americans when it comes to age gapping, when it comes to sexual relations or dating. And that's the problem, I think, overall, because I want to look at Shannon Sharpe as wrong, but I can only look at him as a fucking idiot. That's all I can do.
I don't think the conversation is about wrongness. It's just about stupidity.
Right. That literally goes back to what I was saying. Like, I'm not judging Shannon Sharpe because, I mean, he didn't do anything illegal, and I don't necessarily think that it's wrong. I just think it's fucking stupid. Like, bro, you was fucking with a bop, and you was paying for a bop. Like, not thinking that she was going to do what she did, and it's just frustrating that you're just surprised. Oh, and keep in mind, Logic's. I think they tried to settle for $10 million,
which was stupid. Which was stupid for him to even literally call for anything,
bro. Like, because literally those text messages contradicted that recording because they obviously had some sort of weird. I'm not going to call it weird, but they had some sort of like BDSM type of relationship, and that goes back to what Sandra was saying. How like the dynamics between relationship to relationship are different. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it's stupid. What it comes down to this is, for me, and I've seen a lot of guys with money. I've been around people with money, and I understand that this new generation has taken the whole situation of being a pimp or a playboy down to straight up simp mode. Like, I don't understand how people go so far to becoming simps, and Shannon Sharpe is the ultimate simp when it comes to him being a man with money. Because you're simping to a 19-year-old who's obviously a 5.5, maybe a 3 on my book, anyways. But at the end of the day, I don't see how you would just consistently pay someone 20,000, 30,000. Like, they're inflating the price of vagina.
You know what's crazy? It seems like he's just paying to play, but he still ended up getting fucked.
He got fucked.
I don't get how you're actually. Usually, you're right. The paying is supposed to keep you clean. And I don't get how you end up in this situation. I guess these men are simps, bro. They have no real men. They're not men. It's mind-boggling to have that access and still get got to this extent. But
Logics, you said paying is supposed to. It usually keeps you clean, right?
Yeah,
it does when you do it correctly. If you are just randomly giving $20,000, $30,000 to a 19-year-old, that is not a binding contract. She's gonna do whatever the fuck. She's gonna squeeze more money out of you. I don't know why he didn't have
an NDA. Well, if she, you know,
NDAs don't work these days. They don't even work
matter.
these days.
No, NDAs don't matter if you commit a crime. Because she's alleging a crime. So, you know, well, technically she's still not.
But then again, I can also. But I can also make the.
Oh, true.
That is true. But I could make the argument that NDAs also serve as deterrents as well. Because what I will say, and this is alleged, but I know a lot of people out in LA, and allegedly Chris Brown has everybody signs NDAs.
does.
Like
All
no
these
matter,
celebrities
bro.
have NDAs by the bed, by the thousand.
Literally.
I know
Literally.
that them niggas have NDAs at the door. Whenever them groupies come over or wherever, they take their phone. They have a stack of NDAs that they gotta sign. I know that. That I ain't never seen it, but I know that's what's going on.
Have them sign a digital one and a
Right, like that
one.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
digital
sure.
and then they take their fucking phone and whatever happens. Like
And,
no.
and keep in mind, this is gonna sound so fucked up, but if you are, this is gonna sound crazy, but if you are like associating yourself with women that are that much younger, 19, 20, whatever, they are going to be scared to say anything just because they're signing an NDA, not knowing like the
they can't deal with any legal stuff.
right, but not knowing the parameters essentially.
Right.
So
I think the issue again is that this little girl is looking for a check. Period. That's my standpoint.
Yes.
But on top of that, when they go to the point of saying shit like, "Well, I told him not to have anal sex with me, and he did anyways, and he did it without a condom. I told him not to," says that he's more of an aggressor than he may actually be, because he may actually like that, and you knew he liked that, but at this point in time, you don't want him to go this route when y'all been going this route the whole time. So it's more manipulation on her end, and that's how I look at it, because young women are more manipulative than older women. That's why some older women can go into these situations, know what they're getting, be happy with what they're getting, and then if they don't see you again, oh well, they keep it bucking and keep it moving. But I think this situation, young girl found herself a lick. She didn't even know who the man was, and then she found out who he was, how much money he really had, and she was like, "Let me go for a bag." That's my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of, and see, this is the problem with like social media, right? Because women like this always existed. Okay, this isn't a new thing. Women like this always existed, but their lifestyle wasn't put on the main stage for everybody to be like, "Oh, that's an option." A lot of people didn't know that these were even options on the table, right? So now you have this influencer culture where they can just sit over here and, post their lifestyle, make it seem like it's so great to live like this. And you have these young girls growing up, young boys too, growing up, and they seeing this on social media, and their parents are not being involved enough to talk to them and let them know, like, hey, this ain't it. And they're being influenced into trying to live this way. For the life of me, I cannot understand how we went from a society where people scamming was looked at like a bad thing to now people are blatantly online promoting how they're scammers. Okay,
Hey.
Like sitting here making a whole like thing about it, like it's a good thing,
And I could go on
people
for days
actually
and
would be
days.
going online
On
saying,
for
"I want to be with a scammer." Like what in the tarnation
But
is this?
all right, see. Now we're going to get into a conversation that y'all might not like me for, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and blame it on the urban culture and hip hop music, and I come from the hip hop era. I'm being honest. Listen. It's a whole. But
It
it's
is a whole other topic.
But you open the
good
doors. You open the doors for me to have to express this, because everything that we see in today, the open sexual exploitation, the open just the open overall degeneracy of our culture and American culture now is because so many people are open and there's no repercussions for anyone doing the shit they're doing. Everybody can glorify anything. Like it's okay to glorify being obese. It's okay glorifying being a robber, a scammer, or a prostitute, or a sex worker. I'm sorry, let me clean my language up. A sex worker in this sense. So on that basis, I agree with you, Sandra, because it's one of those things that I look at it like it's a small voice of people like us who will be like, all right, we shouldn't be doing this. But we have allowed this. My mama told me to stop listening to hip hop music, and I didn't know. I didn't.
But still
now-
been around before rap.
The glorification of it. The glorification of all of this.
No.
But
Name something else that was around before this that said that it was a glorification of it.
Okay, I would say I don't know about glorify. I don't think it's glorified to scam. I don't think it's glorified.
I don't think it's necessarily glorified either. And also, all of the things that you named, I would not attribute to rap culture in the black community. That's just people. I would attribute that to social media as a whole, not necessarily rap culture.
It's a part of culture that I grew up in that I am familiar with since a young age. I'm super familiar with this culture since a young age. right? I was a part of this culture for a long time. A long time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we all were for the most part, right?
All right, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So around you, I want you to look at what was the influences of those things at the time. What was the influences of you doing those things at the time? Why are you not doing those things now? Why are you not doing those things now?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. When it comes to, and this might just be me, just because of the type of people that I hung out with and like the family that I was constantly around. When I listened to hip hop, I was listening to like Wu-Tang, Nas, Jay. And yes, don't get me wrong, we would talk like they would talk about like drugs, money, hoes, whatever. But I had such a good foundation thanks to my parents and my brothers that
You had balance. You had balance.
Yes. So me personally, I never glorified it, but I just took it as, okay, this is their experience, and I appreciate the artistic way that they are sharing their experience. But when it comes to those artists that were like the one hit wonders that would talk about, the same shit over and over again, I never gave them any type of play because I knew that they were just basically trying to make a quick buck and like have a hit or whatever. So me personally, I always listen to like conscious rap anyway.
All right,
so
you listen to conscious rap, which is totally fine. What about you, Logic? You listen to conscious rap, or you had a plethora?
Oh yeah, I listen to all types of rap.
All right, and for me overall, I agree with you. I listen to the Bone Thugs and Harmonies. I listen to a variety
That's
of
who
music.
got me into rap. That's funny. You said
the
first rap song I ever heard was Crossroads.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we all have an ideology of what started us in hip hop, and gave us our basis. But the thing about it is, the ones who were listening to the songs that you're talking about is the majority. The ones you talking about had the one hit wonders talking about shaking ass, the Kayas, my neck, my back, lick my they were the majority, bro. And you think you are the majority, but you're really the minority in this case. And that's what I'm saying here. And the majority won because that's what we have today. Name me a new age rapper today that's not conscious, and I guarantee you, if you go and look up for their first song, they're talking about how they scam, how they rob, and how they steal.
Even if they talking about that doesn't mean it's glorification. Like in my opinion,
that's exactly what it is.
What I see as glorification. What I see as glorification is like the Got Milk campaign. That's what glorification is. That's like, do this because it's gonna benefit you. When people was rapping about selling drugs and shit, it wasn't like it benefited me. And then even if people went out and emulated it, it's 9 times out of 10 it was because that was their circumstance. Gangsters was gangsters before rap and after. So like, if you was living a life where you had to sell drugs, where you had to rob people, rap didn't make you do it. You was in a circumstance where you had to do it anyway, and then you related to the music, which is how rap even came to be what it was. Motherfuckers was living a lifestyle, so then they rapped about it to get out of it. It wasn't like, y'all, do what I did so you can be rich. Like, that wasn't the logic.
But see, that's the bullshit, because Jay-Z says if you want to... Go ahead.
There has to be some pushback to this, because, and I'll hit this with a few different points, right? So when I brought up social media, the reason why I brought that up was because, back in the day, it kind of looked like this was, when you had people glorifying certain things, it was something separate from what you were able to do, right? You looked at this as, oh, this is something that celebrities are doing. This is something that celebrities can do. But now once you bring in the social media era, you have everyday average people and you see them doing certain things. It looks more obtainable. It looks like something that is possible. So now you have opened the door for people to be more influenced by it. Like, hey, not only can I consume this content that this person is making, I could be doing it too. So that's the reason why, like, social media really played a big role into it and why it's now glorification. But I do want to give some pushback to this idea of, oh, they were living the lifestyle and then they started rapping. I kid you not. You look at a lot of these thug rappers and they went to private school, okay? Tupac went to private school. Hold up.
Right.
Tupac went to private school. I saw this clip where I think it was Jada Kiss. He was sitting on the table. He was sitting at the couch with his father. And his father was like, excuse me, you talking all this stuff. You didn't grow up like that. Look, think of T.I.'s children. Grew up with a spoon in his mouth, but he want to act like he on the street with everybody else. Like, so I don't want to make. I don't think it's a reasonable argument to make that. Oh, most of them were living the lifestyle. A lot of these kids, they weren't living the lifestyle. They are up here repeating things that they heard other people say. They are cosplaying as gangsters because most of the ones that's actually in the street doing this stuff, guess what? They getting killed. They getting locked up. They not the ones getting the record deal. The record deals are going to these theater kids who can cosplay as what we perceive the streets to be like.
So to add a little bit of pushback to that, Sandra, those rappers that you say are essentially cosplaying, do they have any type of longevity? No, because like I could one example that I could think of is like Lil TJ. Lil TJ be rapping about a whole bunch of shit, but he's a private school kid essentially. Like, but so right. So if
Tupac is revered as one of the best rappers.
Yes, you're right.
That boy went to private school.
You're right.
Wait, the personality as an adult.
Does going to private school necessarily mean you don't have experiences with socially within different types of communities?
But that's what I'm about to say. My wife went to a private school and she grew up in South Central. She grew up on Crenshaw.
No, that's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Like your life in school can be totally different than your
that means nothing.
No. You're absolutely right. Keep in mind when I don't know if Sandra was thinking the same way, but when I say somebody went to private school, I'm basically saying those individuals they went to private school and they had a good life. Like they didn't necessarily grow up in the hood.
That's the representation of the fake ones.
Right. That's specifically what I'm talking about. But one quote that I did want to bring up because Logix and I made this point of the rappers that talked about, and I agree that they're not. Well, some of them are not necessarily glorified. I don't think anybody's necessarily glorifying it, but like Jay-Z had a quote, and I'm probably going to misquote him when he said, you don't have to sell drugs. Hov did that. So hopefully you don't have to go through that. Like that's literally a prime example saying, don't do it. I'm telling you that I did it. I'm just sharing my experience.
Well, okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Shoot.
How many times have someone said something that they didn't say that someone perceived differently? Because we're talking to undeveloped minds here, right? These things are going towards undeveloped minds, people who are going through development. Like Sandra said, somebody who's 14, 15 don't have a developed mind, so she couldn't see a grown man, in that situation with that person. Same thing with influence, and the same thing when it comes to impressions. When you impress on someone or you imprint,
whooping your ass.
Man, it was whooping my ass, man. When you impress on someone or something that is undeveloped, right? You can't predict how they're going to perceive something. For example, and I don't want to go this route, but I'm gonna go this route just for a quick second. How Matt Walsh came out just recently and said something about the little dude who killed and said that black people shouldn't. Like he didn't say it directly that he was racist, but everybody could see that he was using words without using words, and other people going to take it and run with it with how they want to.
Well, no, Matt Walsh was pretty much, very overtly. He was pretty racist from the tweets that I saw.
Right? No. From again, we consider ourselves black here, right? So we're going to definitely see that as straight up racism. But a lot of people there are some black people that say he's not being racist. He's not being racist. I looked at it as him trying to imprint something without fully coming out saying it. He didn't fully come out and say, let's start a race war. I
understand what you're saying. So
right.
Can I ask a question though? Because you're talking about these impressionable minds, right?
Impressionable minds, yes.
Does this not also fall back on the parents? Because
but see, I was going there because I was going there because the people who raised us, who told us to stop listening to this shit, we didn't listen to, and now we're the parents of the motherfuckers who are out doing the shit that we're talking about they shouldn't be doing, like doing 19 being on OnlyFans. We're now their parents. But
at what point do we
and their aunties?
But at what point does all of your impressions and development come from music? That's not really how we operate. Like music doesn't make you who you are.
No,
there's so many things that influence you.
I'm not saying that. There is so much things. There's so many things that influence you across the board, and I agree with you. It's not just music, but music is the number one main consumable source of entertainment that we use today.
But I don't think it's the number one thing that leaves an impression on people to develop who they are.
The thing, though, it's a multi-pronged thing, right? So you have the music, but then you also see them on social media showing off that lifestyle.
I think social media is the biggest catalyst, though. I think social media is number one.
It all works together, though.
Yeah, but it's all propelled by the music and everything, the culture that flushes through. It flushes through that pipeline, starting with what people. Okay, Sexy Red. How do you feel about Sexy Red? How do you feel about Sexy Red?
No, I think she's just an artist. She's not. She
She's
don't have
not just
longevity.
an artist.
In my wait,
she's
listen,
not.
in my,
But
wait,
she's
wait.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, I don't think she has longevity. And I did a whole video about Sexy Red. I'm not a fan, nor do I hate her. She's the least popular of all the top female rappers. It's not like she's propelled past Nicki, Rhapsody. Well, yeah, Rhapsody. But
yeah, come on, bro.
Nicki, Cardi, Megan. She's not Glorilla. She's not doing better than any of them as far as listeners. So she has a base. Everybody's gonna have a base. There's people out there that's like Sexy Red, so there's gonna listen to her. That don't mean she's finna shape the culture of black people.
No, she don't listen. She don't have to because Nicki already done it. Look, Kim already done it. Pinky, the porn star, already done it.
And so black women are still the most educated women out here. Like
it has nothing to do about race. It has nothing to do about race because white women are doing this. The 19-year-old doing this. Koreans. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with humanity. Overall, humanity is being shaped by this exact same thing. The reason we are right here right now is because motherfuckers like the city girls talking about I want me a sugar daddy, I want me an older nigga who can pop them bottles and I can get pissed on my ditty. These are the motherfuckers who are shaping it.
All these people aren't like influencing, like, okay, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. They're influencing people's real life, but they're not actually impacting real life. Like, I don't want to say Matt Walsh, but people like that. There's actually people that make changes politically, like legally to our lives that you're not saying like these people are evil and they're hurting us. I don't want to do it, but you know who I want to say is influencing a lot of racism that's being blatantly.
But I mentioned
that everybody is seeing and they don't give a fuck no more. Let's be fucking racist.
No. I mentioned at the beginning. I said there are people in laws or people head of the countries who are not changing laws like being 16. I mentioned that stuff is impacting our world today still. That's why we're having these conversations. So I agree with what you're saying. But the fact that we do not accept the fact that we have a leading cause of our cultural structure in the across America and nationally and fucking globally is because of fucking music.
They have to change. People's lifestyles have to change, and then the music will. You can't say change the music and then everything.
I'm not
rapping about this shit because of the lifestyle that they live in.
I'm not even saying change the music or change the world because you can't. You can't change that shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing to change.
Not overnight.
No, it's nothing to change. Like it's nothing. People going to live the life they're living, and I can't force it. You can't force it. This conversation can't force it. What I am saying is we have to be honest and say this shit is this way because of this and this and this. Those things are collectively causing this, and I'm okay with it. I make money off of it.
No, it's a chicken and
exactly. The egg. It's the chicken or the egg. But can you tell me ignorant people? Did ignorant people come first or ignorant music?
Ignorant people.
Ignorant people.
So we have the music. There's no music without people to make it. There's no music without people to make it.
So we found out what was the chicken and what was the egg.
So it's people. It's not music. The issue is the people.
People are ignorant who create ignorant music that keeps repeating the cycle.
But the music doesn't come from anything besides the people. There's no music without the people to make it.
But see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that we're not talking about, though. When we talk about these different influences, we have to understand that all of this is propaganda. Okay, every single aspect of it is propaganda, and it's not something where it's just going to be we're just going to propagandize this one thing. No, they're going to give you propaganda in music. They're going to give you propaganda in movies. They're going to give you propaganda in the products that you buy. They're going to give you propaganda in the politics that you consume. Everything has been propagandized, and so what we need to understand is that, especially with the introduction of social media, that's just another avenue for them to propagandize us, okay? Another way for them to manipulate us, all right? So, when we're talking about the music and all these different things, we have to understand the folks that are curating what we see and suppressing the things that we wish we could see but aren't seeing. It's all for a purpose, and these people are there for a reason. And the last thing I want to bring up before I toss it back to y'all is when we think about the Sexy Reds, right? Every single iteration of a Sexy Red, right? Your Foxy Brown, your Lil Kim, your Cardi B, all they do is push that envelope of what we're going to accept even further. right? So if you take the stuff they were saying in the 90s and compare it to the stuff that they're saying now, it's gotten more vulgar. Because they keep they'll put out a sexy red just to push the envelope of what's acceptable. Think about that song that she dropped with Bruno Mars. That thing is nasty. Okay, that song is nasty.
Slap though. I don't care what nobody say.
It's slaps.
Sonically, yes. Sonically, it sounds good. But when we
Sonically,
talk about
I like
lyrics,
it.
we talk about the
Sonically, I
lyrics
like
and the
it.
things, even with the music videos, they push the envelope of what is acceptable, and they will put somebody out there that is such an outlier of just degeneracy, so the society slowly moves towards that goalpost, and then they'll push it out even further, and then next thing you know, children's stuff is gonna have just degenerate bullshit in it.
That is a slippery slope that I would not buy into. Children, I don't think.
It's not a slope. It's already happened.
Time out.
No, I'm not talking about children liking adult music. I'm talking about making this type of music for children. I don't think that's.
I can see that. Hey, time out. Can we?
No,
can we
they
just
already
look
do
at a
that.
few?
Hold up. No, they already do that. Because look at these Meg Thee Stallion videos, right? She has one with her and the baby, and she is literally dressed up like a child. They use a lot of different things that are geared towards children in their videos to make it appealing to children. I will ideas and color schemes and things like that to appeal to children. That way, the parent glancing at it, nonchalantly, they just see, someone with fucking bulbs in their heads, barrettes in their heads, and they think, oh, that's just another kid video. No, that's Meg Thee Stallion about to show her ass in the next scene. You're just gonna miss that part. So it's just like they are using these different motifs and things like that, themes that are normally geared towards children, to co-opt it and to create that gateway for kids to consume these things in large amounts and not understand what they're saying and not understand what they're seeing, right?
I agree that I agree with Logic. That is a very slippery slope, and I will, Sandra, that is a stretch. Like that is you use the Megan Thee Stallion. You used the Megan Thee Stallion in the DaBaby video, right? I mean, his name is DaBaby, and in the song he says, "That's not DaBaby, that's my baby." Like it's pretty much like, don't get me wrong, it's low hanging fruit, but I don't think it's that far fetched to think, okay, his name is DaBaby. We're talking about, him being my baby in the song or whatever. Why not? Let's display some sort of like childlike images because like it's in the song. I think that is a stretch just to say, oh, we're trying to appeal to children specifically. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but I could be wrong. Logics, what do you think?
What you gonna say, Sandra?
What you gonna say, Sandra?
I was just gonna say, like, look, you don't understand how nefarious these motherfuckers are. They are very nefarious, and they will do things in a way where they can kind of wash their hands of it and have plausible deniability.
This is crazy.
That's the thing. They live off of plausible deniability.
I have a video on this very topic. It was the sexy red video. It's just so funny. I literally touched on all these topics in that video. It's so funny. Check that out if y'all haven't. But yeah, I just don't buy into the fact that there's this intentionality behind like selling sex. Sex has always sold, and I think this is just about making money. It's not about like, let's make children sexualized or let's dumb everybody down intentionally. I think it's just that the shit makes money. People like it, and that's why they put it out. Like, Did you not watch Nickelodeon? A lot of those kids. That was my favorite channel growing up.
A lot of those kids, you didn't realize that when you were a child, but a lot of those kids were being sexualized in those shows. Especially the ones that
yes, I agree. There were creeps running these shows. I agree. I'm not denying that.
Suggestive things in those shows.
But those are the difference in what I'm talking about, and maybe we might connect, maybe not. The difference is individual actors doing things versus a system of people trying to make this happen. That's the difference. I do think that there's individual actors that do weird shit. So like I saw the Nickelodeon documentary. I watched Nickelodeon. Looking back, it's like this shit was on purpose. Like, I'm not denying that, but I don't think there's this overarching system of people with puppet strings, like, let's ruin kids. Like, I don't think that's what's happening. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this.
It is though.
Let me ask you. Hold on, Sandra. Let me ask this because my mind is now got me wondering about. Y'all look at this Shannon Sharp situation as
yeah. Come on for the callback.
Okay, like as a coon, as old dude who out here chasing a snow bunny.
I would not say coon.
I don't know none of us said that.
I'm making a statement, right?
Okay.
Yeah, as a coon black guy chasing a snow bunny, and he's spending bukus of money on her when he shouldn't have to, right? All right, let's just put it like that, right? But on that basis, right? What got Shannon Sharp in that notion that he could spend that type of money on a young woman, whether she's white, black, anything? Because my thing is, a man, any one of you're saying you're younger than Shannon Sharp. You're younger. I'm younger. But all of us are saying we wouldn't do it. It's because of how we was raised, first of all. We was raised differently.
We
right?
got his money.
No. So if you had his money, you would do it.
No, why would you?
No.
So if you had his money, you would do it.
No, I'm saying I'm saying that I could possibly make a mistake with my money.
That's not a mistake. That is stupidity across the board.
Yeah.
Stupidity can be a mistake.
No, it's not mistakenly that you're stupid. You're stupid because you are.
Listen. I'm not saying I would do what Shannon did. I'm saying that I could make a mistake. That's what I'm saying.
You can make some Diddy mistakes?
I think that's not a mistake. That's an illness. But
same thing with people with money. Same thing with people with money. They get comfortable.
I think I'm smarter than Shannon though. That's
until you get the money.
No, with the money, I think I'm smarter than Shannon. I can't put my level of it. I don't know this, of course. I can't put my level of intellect or knowledge onto Shannon with, you know what I'm saying, with him having his money. If I had my money, I could make a mistake, is what I'm saying. We ain't had his money is meaning I think you can make mistakes with money, but I do think Shannon isn't as intelligent as he could have been in this situation.
I would say that also goes back to like your upbringing, and we can argue like when Shannon got money, who he was hanging around in general, because I mean, we're all in our 30s. If we hit the lottery tomorrow, we're going to be way more careful than Shannon ever was, because we never had that amount of money ever in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's possible. But again, the thing I've always respected about money, it shows people who they really are. It's just what it is. It doesn't. Money doesn't change. Money doesn't change you. Money just exposes who you really were. That's period. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is.
Money is gonna. If I get that, no, I'm not even gonna say if. When all of us get that type of money, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna tell you. You know what I'm gonna do? Gone.
Buy me a snow bunny.
His wife is in here. Listen,
I ain't gonna tell you I'll be rich, but there will be evidence. There will be things you'll notice.
You'll notice.
Hear from me again. I would be gone.
Subtly.
Yeah, no, gone, ghost. So you will never know.
So basically, what I'm saying is, right, when it comes down to all of this across the board, the ignorance of society, not just black, white, women, men, all of that. It comes down to the fact that people have walk around here lying to themselves constantly. They put on these masks when they go to, but when they get off, it's Freaknik time, it's club, ass showing, titties hanging out. Let's do some OnlyFans, but I'm going back to work with my makeup on, lipstick, saying yes sir. Oh, how you doing there, boss? But don't find out about my OnlyFans page. That's why you got more teachers today, especially when I was younger. I wish my teachers were doing OnlyFans, because I'm pretty sure at 14 or 15 I would have been in one or two. Now, I know it ain't right, but I'm just being honest. That's the way life was when I was growing up. We
wouldn't have been in the wrong then.
You see, we wouldn't have been in the wrong. But right now, every single day, you have teachers because my teachers was like 40, 45, 50 when I was growing up. Now these teachers are 23, 24 teaching high schoolers that are 16.
I ain't saying it don't happen, but that's risky. I'm not. So I don't see it, but.
So you're either not paying attention.
In high school, I don't see 20-year-olds for the most part.
Bro, there's 23, 24-year-old high school teachers.
I'm not denying it.
Not even just high school.
That would be a very interesting
or substitute. You have people that substitute or even just work in the.
I could subs for sure.
I literally just seen.
I was 20.
I literally just seen a woman who just got caught, I think it's in Idaho somewhere, who was literally paying little 14, 15-year-old boys to have sex with her while her husband was... Listen, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's becoming more rampant. Listen.
This has a problem?
No, I'm tired of people blaming this shit on mental illness. These are choices.
It exists.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Vibe, real quick. I found a statistic. It says while there aren't specific statistics about specifically like teachers in their 20s teaching high school, it's common for teachers to start their careers in their early 20s. Around 55% of teachers begin teaching in their early 20s. So, I mean, possibly you're
but most teachers don't begin teaching high school either. So
yeah, I need to find
you don't get out of college and teach high school.
But the reason why that's happening more because there's less teachers. There's less teachers to fill those positions now.
That is
And due to the fact that teachers are part of due to the fact teachers are part of unions now, they don't have to be forced to only teach certain grades. So all I'm saying is, things are happening that are getting more chaotic every day. And most of these women, they're doing OnlyFans. They're because the schools don't pay much. They're finding easier ways to make money. OnlyFans is an easy way to make money, but what they do.
No, it's not.
Hello, listen. I know this, but listen to what I'm saying. They bloat it to show people like the little Bad Bunny bitch. I think that's her name. They bloat that to say, oh, she made $20 million this month. Well, we know that's not fucking true. She ain't made no $20 million in a month. She might have made $20 million over a year, but they're going to keep that as, oh, she made this much to influence other young girls to start going to do that instead of going to college. Start doing that instead of finding a decent job, or to get into sex work because it pays more. Strippers, when they started showing strippers in music videos and they showing all this money being flown on the page, young girls was like, "Yo, that pays like that."
How do you differentiate? How do you differentiate people just saying what's happening to them versus trying to make other people
influence somebody? Yeah, that's what I like to know.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Because we all small YouTubers. One day we might be rich as fuck, and if I be like, "Yo, I get on here crying like my life has changed. You could do anything." Am I influencing or am I just telling my story?
Yes, you are influencing.
Okay, so with that being said, am I trying to make people feel like it's easy, or am I just, or is
what your intentions are doesn't matter. Your intentions don't matter. How someone perceives you, what someone perceives matters. That's all that matters.
Intention don't matter depending on what we're talking about. But the way you're talking about this, it sounds like, I could be wrong, it sounds like you're saying these people are doing these things for ulterior motives.
For the intention of influencing people. Like, I understand unintentionally influencing people by what you said. That I get.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I get that. But it sounds like you're making the argument that people are purposely doing it. Is that what you're saying?
We went from not purposely doing it to now we purposely influence because you don't want.
But you can't really prove that.
But you don't want people to grow up because you want these people to be forever fans, spending forever money with you, and the goal is to keep people dumb, stupid, and ignorant and blind for sure. It ain't no who, it's individualized. Like you said, everybody understands the agenda. If I made money off of ignorant people, I'm gonna keep making money off of them, period. If I can find somebody that is stupid enough to keep giving me money to something stupid because it glorifies what they believe, I'm gonna do that. The church does it every fucking Sunday. The church does it every Sunday.
We can agree that there are bad actors, and I don't disagree that there's bad actors out there. My issue is when it comes off as there's an organization of people, like there's this cabal.
I'm not talking about no Illuminati. I ain't talking about no. I'm not talking.
Since humanity, people have behaved with ulterior motives. That's all.
All right, let's put it like
worse because of social media.
Let's put it like this. There's 1% of stupid. That's 1% of intelligent people on the planet. So there's 98.9% of ignorant motherfuckers that's following that 1%, trying to get to where that 1%. The 1% don't consume their own McDonald's, don't consume their own beef, don't consume the shit that they grow and sell to you. That's period. You are influenced right now to be on YouTube because someone showed you that it's possible to make money on YouTube. You're not here because you just want to be here. You're here because someone influenced you and showed you that it's possible for you to make money, as the example you made earlier. Right? Someone showed you that it's okay to eat healthy and showed you that it's okay to be vegan, which some people will say it's not. It's worse. The worst thing for you. Some people trying to influence people to stop being vegan. Some people trying to influence you to be goth. Some people trying to influence you to be emo. Some people trying to influence you to be gamers. Even though their intentions isn't to. If we didn't want to influence anything, we'll shut the fuck up. There's no influences. There's no influence in shutting the fuck up. That's the only influence. Is shut the fuck up and do what you do. And let people see. But we get on here and talk about the shit that we make, the money we make, the subscribers we just gained. Hey guys, we just gained 100 subscribers this week. Clap it up. That's influence. We influencing every time we open our mouth. That we influence.
Everything is going to be an influence just inherently, okay? Intrinsically, everything is going to be an influence in some way, shape, or form. And now, I do disagree with you on the fact that I do think there was some kind of cabal going on. I think that all these things are interplaying together, okay? Everybody is clicked up with everybody to create these things that happen. I'm not gonna hold you. I do believe that, because it's just the way the pieces fit together. It's no coincidence, okay? It's just, there's no way that it is a coincidence to me that we
the 1% is a cabal. The 1% is a cabal.
I'll give you an example, right? So everything is working together, all right? And this subject, maybe you will be, or maybe you will not feel comfortable like talking about this, but when we talk about like age of consent and things like this also ties into this whole conversation about wanting children to be able to become trans, or to be able to change their gender, or get these surgeries, or get these pills and things like that.
We get into a whole different conversation.
But it works. It works though. It works within.
Because if you tell me that a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old knows that they want to be the opposite gender and they should be allowed to get on once they start getting that age where they hit puberty, that they're able to make that decision for themselves about their body, that they're able to say, oh, I know for a fact this, that, and the third, and make these choices about getting on puberty blockers, things that are going to affect you long term, surgeries. If you're going to tell me that they know that much about themselves and they are so mature, what's the next step? Oh, they're mature enough for us to sleep with them. They're mature enough for us to do this, that, and the third with them. That is the next step to that. Okay, all these things work together to create this image of children that is no longer childlike. Okay, look at the middle schoolers that you went to school with, and look at the middle schoolers that you see now. Half of them look my age. They look the same age as me, just because of how they're dressing or the type of makeup that they're doing. All these different things are working together to make children seem or be viewed as older or more mature than what they actually are. It is all working together, because once you establish that a child is grown enough to know that they're this opposite sex and that they should be able to make the choice to get on puberty blockers or to get mastectomies or whatever it is. Once you make that argument, you then open the door for, hey, they're mature enough to know that they want to be in a relationship with somebody that's 40 and they're 13. Once you make that argument, it's going to move in that direction. Like I said, all of this is pushing the envelope of what we're willing to accept. And once you accept one thing, then people will make that logical argument, because that is a logical argument. Hey, if they can do this, then they know themselves well enough. So yeah, they know that they want to be with this older person. So how are you going to tell them that they can't be?
He said, all right. I gotta hear this. I need to hear this. Real quick. Yeah.
I didn't think we would be here.
That's why I kind of shut the fuck up, because I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, it's taking a turn.
Who's gonna be here? Oh,
hey,
no,
if I need to reel it back, just let me know. If I need to reel it back, I'll
How about we do this? I was saying, how about we read some comments and see what the comments are saying? How about we read some comments?
I'm not gonna lie. What Rasta said made me die laughing. This man said, so if I tell motherfuckers to breathe, is that me influencing them to breathe, or is that something they were going to do already?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, that's not a bad take.
That's not a bad take.
Okay, so look, hold up real quick before y'all even say anything. This might be TMI, but just to like put some like I don't even know what the fuck to say. But when I got up, levity, yeah. When I got up, something fell in my closet. I checked it out. I sat back down. I sat on my balls, bro. That's why I was looking down. That's why I wasn't
Nigga got droopy balls, y'all.
That's why I was looking down. I was shaking my head. I promise y'all I wasn't reacting to y'all. Like that shit hurt, man. Like it knocked the wind out my stomach.
So
I don't know about that.
Okay, okay, well, wait. So Sandra, when you were 5, you didn't feel like weren't you comfortable with identifying with anything that relates to being a girl?
When you were 5. Not necessarily.
You didn't. Like, so if your parents put you in like football in baggy boyish clothes that you see all the boys wearing and they called you Sam, well that's a girl's name too. a male name, wouldn't you be like, this feels a little weird?
Well, the baggy clothes thing, no, because I was a little tomboy. Okay, I like.
Okay, so you
know,
were a tomboy, but
see,
you understand what I'm saying.
See, the thing is, at least the way I grew up, not everything was fucking gendered, right? Like, if I wanted to play with a monster truck, my parents were going to be like, she must be a boy because she likes monster trucks.
I agree with
that.
Like,
this little girl likes monster trucks.
There was still an understanding that you understood that there was a difference in how you were interested in things and boys were interested in things, right? Or the way they look, the way they present themselves, the things that they like, the things that they say, the people they play with. Are you going to sit here and say that
No, I'm saying that yes, there are things that are within our society that are inherently gendered, right? Like, it wasn't common to see boys walking around in dresses when I was growing up.
Oh, so Watts, did you walk around in dresses and heels and wigs?
Well, you said Logics or Watts?
You, Logics.
No, I didn't. So what my point is, so you agree that we do notice those differences. So kids that recognize those differences at that age, they're not saying change my body parts. They're just saying something's wrong. That's all they can articulate most of the times if it manifests itself at that age. They're not saying, let's put me on hormone blockers, mommy. They're just recognizing something's wrong, and they may not have the language to address it. But
so the parents are just going to do it?
No, they don't just do it. They have to go to months of therapy. They have to go to a month of seeing doctors. They have to be diagnosed by more than one doctor before anything happens physically. At most, they're just going to call them a different name. And if it persists, if there's persistence, insistence, and consistence for, I believe, 6 months, then they start taking the appropriate steps to whatever needs to be addressed that'll make them feel comfortable with themselves. Because if you do not want these people to end their lives, statistically, it's best to address the issue and not just pretend like it does not exist.
And can I say something real quick? Because I mean, hold on. Let me just. I'm just trying to wrap my mind. I might ask a few questions here. All right. So, well, I'm gonna make a statement. When I was born, my mama had me. She died. They brought her back to call cold blue on her. But when they stitched her up, they left all kind of sponges and shit in her stomach. These were doctors. You know, she ended up getting gangrene and being sick for months and shit like that. Right. Horrible situation. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Should I also believe those doctors when they tell my kids that they should get their dicks cut off? Should I trust those doctors when they diagnose my kids with leukemia when they only had pop rashes or some shit? Because doctors always misdiagnose. People aren't smart enough. They get into careers they really don't care about. I know plenty of therapists who only got into the because they didn't have any other choice. They couldn't get into the other field that they wanted to get into. Like I said, where we start to let people dictate what's right and wrong for us versus letting us feel it for real, and we can't understand what a 5-year-old feels gender-wise or sexually, then again, like Sandra said, we are allowing things to be opened up, those Pandora boxes to be opened up, the exact same Pandora boxes that we have opened up with music, movies, TVs, ideologies, religion, and now we can't close them. We can't close them boxes because they're too big. The door's too wide open. And that's all I'm saying. I don't trust doctors. I don't trust lawyers. I don't trust people in professions just because they go to a school and they want, because those people have their own ideologies. As we mentioned a minute ago, those people, everybody in here has their own compass. So some doctors who pump these ass cheeks full of women knowing they look horrible, they still do it because it makes them money. Or put these fake ass implants in people's faces knowing it looks bad and it's bad for you, but they continue to do it because it makes them money. So all I'm saying is I can't understand what you're saying.
Do you think that's the norm of doctors making those type of mistakes? Is that the standard?
I think that's the standard we have.
So how are we all not dead? Why don't people die?
I haven't been to the doctor in 12 years.
Whoa. That's fine, but
I'm trying to get like you.
Listen, I'm not talking about you may adhere to this. I'm saying
I know a lot of people that are here. I know a lot. We have sick conscious people.
No,
we have sick conscious people.
Why are we pretending like doctors just kill people left and right?
No, doctors don't kill people. They keep them alive so they can keep feeding them drugs that make them money. So they don't want to kill them.
No,
they just want to keep feeding them pills.
God, I don't.
I'm glad that you brought it up because, like I said, this everything. I'm sorry, Watts. I need to get this thing off.
All right,
like
Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in.
With what you just said about keeping them on drugs. See, this is what I mean by everything working together. You know, the reason why they push for, you to accept this trans ideology and things like that, and then also push it on children. Why? Because they want perpetual customers. Once you start,
do you think trans people exist?
Hold on. Once you, I'll address that in a second. Once you start getting people on these drugs, once you start getting them having these surgeries, guess what? Now Big Pharma has a forever customer, right? They're either going to have a customer because you're always going to have to buy the hormones for them, or once they get off the hormones and they're depressed, guess what? You have another customer because they're depressed, or maybe they might even be on the hormones and be depressed. So it's all about funneling these children into that lifestyle where they're already taking drugs for X, Y, and Z when there really wasn't a problem there to begin with. Now, to address your question of do trans people exist, I think that yes, people can suffer from gender dysphoria. Absolutely, somebody can suffer from gender dysphoria. That is a mental health crisis, okay? That is not a normal occurrence. It is not normal. We shouldn't view it as normal. We should view it with empathy, right? Because, the way I see it with a lot of empathy, right? I can understand somebody going through something where they feel like they're uncomfortable in their body. They feel like they're this, that, and the third. That is a mental health crisis. What I don't like is people getting on here and taking advantage of people going through a mental health crisis. Rather than dealing with it as such, as a mental health issue, they're saying, oh yeah, go do this, go do that, get on the hormones, chop your dick off, do all these different things, take these drugs, not thinking about the person themselves. They're more so, I want to feel good about hyping up or being an ally, but really you're just setting these people up to continue to be exploited. Their mental health is being exploited for the gain of Big Pharma, for the gain of fucking left-wing or, influencers that want to seem like they give a damn, but are they going to be there for that person when they want to detransition and then they're going through all these different issues after they've been coaxed into this lifestyle? Are you going to be there for them? No, you're going to pretend like they don't exist and say, well, that rarely happens. So it's just like, it's a whole system that is working together to exploit people. And unfortunately, it happens to happen to the people that are the most vulnerable, children and the mentally ill and the elderly. Okay. So, I hate to be the one with the tin hat hat on, but a lot of these things are happening for very specific reasons, and they are working in lockstep together to fuck us all and to get us perpetual customers, perpetual victims, perpetually sick. Okay. I don't think a lot of these different organizations and people have folks' best interest at heart. Because if they did, we would have a lot more honesty. Okay. We would have a lot more transparency.
I have a couple of questions. First question, how often do you guys think that children are going through the change? Because I don't think it happens as often as you think.
It doesn't.
To me, it doesn't matter. The moment it's one child being funneled into that system, it's already a problem. Look at Jazzy. I believe that's the name, Jazzy. This child had their life on display.
Wait. Was it I Am Jazz? That
yeah, I forgot her last name.
I believe had a whole TV show where it was the whole focus of it was this little boy is transitioning into a little girl. Let's look at her life. And guess what? Fast forward, this child is now grown up, cannot achieve an orgasm, is having struggle with their relationships, is going through, depression and all these different things because guess what? That child was being exploited by everyone in their life. All under the guise of, look, we're so accepting of our child. We're so accepting. But were they really looking out for the child's
you say that?
No.
You say that, but she very well still would prefer to be the type of person that they are currently, though.
And for every detransitioner person is not satisfied, there's people that do. So are we ignoring the people that are happy?
Right.
See, here's my thing. I don't have an issue, and I want to make this very clear. I don't have an issue with grown folks making those choices for themselves. I really,
Okay.
I could care less.
So-
but my issue is when you target children while they're developing and you try to convince them that they have these different things going on, when sometimes it's just puberty. People feel weird during puberty. So it's
That's
just
not
like,
the.
I'm sorry?
That's not what's normally happened. They're not targeting anybody. The children have an issue and then they try to address it. When you said you agree that trans people exist and you believe in gender dysphoria, do you think gender dysphoria pops up at 18 only?
That's not what I'm saying. Just because
So-
you're dealing with a mental health crisis as a child doesn't mean that we need to medically intervene on you.
That's not normal. That's not happening. That's not happening.
There's a difference between allowing your child to dress a certain way or wear their hair a certain way, because guess what? Those things can be easily changed, right? If they change their mind, they still have the opportunity to change their mind and not have long life issues from it. So there's a difference. Once you start allowing children to get on hormone blockers, allowing children to basically, because a lot of those hormone blockers, what they do is they basically make you infertile. They sterilize you. So you're allowing these children to make the decision to sterilize themselves. And yes, this is something that has already been proven. Those countries over in the UK are already changing their laws because of that. They've done the studies. But for some reason, America wants to continue exploiting children in this way. So it's like, I'm sorry?
Okay, so you know that the regret rate for trans people is like less than 1%, right?
And you do know that some people will pretend like they are okay with something just to save face. So I don't.
But you can't really measure that though.
Exactly. So that's why I'm not going to take your statistic as face value.
But what can we take it off of?
Because we have situations where people will get themselves into some shit, and rather than acknowledging that and taking that L, they will continue to go down that path. We even have a title for it. It's called sunken.
You're being your existence.
It's called sunken cost fallacy. Look it up.
Hold on.
It's called
fallacy. Sunken cost fallacy is real. And let's keep it a buck here, because I agree with both. I agree with what you just said, Lodges and Wax, right? You said 1%, right? Have less than 1% have reported, right, that they are unhappy. So let's talk about the other number. Over the last 5 years, there has been hand over fist, year over year, there has been a 283% rise in transgender or gender dysphoria surgeries happened from the age 6 to 17.
You said 283%.
283. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. 283% year over year since 2020, well, technically 2017. And there has been over from the age, of children between 6 and 17, from the age of 6 to 17. These are statistics. These kids are having surgeries. Whether it's
kids are not having surgery under 18.
I'm looking at it.
Surgery or what is it?
It says of the 3,678 patients between the age of 12 and 18 had breast or chest procedures. Another 405. Well, I'm just looking at the numbers they showing me here. That's all I'm saying. I'm just reading this paragraph.
No, you said age 6, but now you said the age 12.
Listen to what I can go back up here and I can mention it again. Hold on, 1 second. Give me 1 second. But while I'm speaking, you said 1% have reported regret. Less than 1%. So you mean to tell me that they're going back and asking every one of these children that they have done this surgery on 12 months after having the surgery? Hey, do you regret having this now? No, we're not getting true. We're not getting true. But listen what I'm saying. We're not getting true statistics, regardless whether
there's only I don't even know if there's 5,000 people having surgery in this country to this day. Like the number is so low.
I just told you that 3,000 of them had surgery back in, I think it was 2022. No, yeah, 2022.
If you're just talking about a mastectomy, that is so like inconsequential.
That's surgery, bro.
That is inconsequential.
It is. It's very much so.
Hold up. You talking about mastectomy is inconsequential?
Yes, because if they got it, they probably wanted it and don't care.
Hold up. As a mother,
if they got it, they probably wanted it and didn't care.
As a mother who breastfeeds her child, mastectomy, it does matter, okay? Because
but if they don't want to breastfeed, it doesn't matter.
Hold up. What if they change their mind? What if they change their
They
mind?
probably
and they wanna have
not.
children?
And if they,
you can't
do you
say
know
they
that
probably not.
Wait,
What
do
if
you
they
know
do?
that? Okay,
And then guess
do you?
what?
Okay,
This child,
we're gonna talk
hold
about
up.
changing minds.
If this child is coaxed into removing that breast tissue as a child, and then they change their mind as an adult, and then they get into a relationship and they decide to have children, guess what? Breastfeeding is now off the table. And see, that's the part that I have an issue with. I want people to, as they come into adulthood, have all the options that they possibly can have. We should not be taking away these options as children. Now, if your grown ass wants to get a mastectomy, by all means, go do that. But as a child, you should not walk into adulthood with all these factors against you and not having the opportunity to change your mind. People should have the opportunity to change their mind, especially as their child going into adulthood.
So is the trade-off? So is the trade-off? Let's just have these people be more depressed, be more likely to end their own lives. Is that the trade-off for keeping your breast or not being on hormone blockers?
No one can answer that question. No one can answer that question.
Statistically, that's what's happening. The only reason people have hormone block. Wait, hold on. I got you, Sandra. The only people who are having hormone blockers, having surgery, and changing their name and the way they dress is because we come to find out right now what we know is this helps these people with their mental health and it keeps them alive longer. Are we saying everything is perfect? No, but statistically, this is what helps these people not end themselves and lose and at least get the other comorbidities to subside. What you're talking about is wait till 18. The likeliness of these people ending their own lives is higher if the issues that they have had isn't being addressed. That's what's happening in real life.
Here's where the disconnect is. Here's where the disconnect is. Because you're saying, oh, it's either one or the other. I personally believe that when you deal with a child that is having a mental health crisis, you have to deal with it from a psychological and therapeutic manner. You can't hold up. You can't just say, let's just give them surgeries and everything will be fine.
That's not what's happening.
That's not what happened.
My point of what I'm saying is, it's not just, oh, well, you can't do this, get over it. No, there has to be intervention, but I feel like those interventions should not limit what they're able to do when they're an adult, if they so choose to change their mind.
That's rare.
So
that's rare.
It's okay. Look, I'm not in the business of saying it doesn't matter just because it happens to a few people. I'm not in the business of making that type of argument. For me, I don't want this happening to anyone. I want people to have those options. I don't want those options taken from anyone because, it's so easy to say, well, it's just happening to this small group of people. But guess what? If you're part of that group that is the small group and it's happening to you, it's going to seem like it's your entire world because it is at that point. So I'm not going to sit over here and just say it doesn't matter because it's just a few people. It doesn't matter. They cut off her breast tissue when she was a child. Now she's an adult and she don't like it. Her lived experience doesn't matter because look at all these people that are okay with it. I'm not going to do that because morally, I can't. Morally, I just cannot do that. I'm going to look at it as a situation where what can we do for these people as their children to help them get through and grow and really fully understand themselves before they become adults and then they make these decisions that are going to affect them for the rest of their life. And now, Nicole, I see you said something about some Similac. Look, as a mom who has breastfed both of her kids, okay, there is a level of connection. Okay, there is a level of connection that you get when you are breastfeeding your child. Not every mother likes it or anything like that, but like I said, having
not every mother can do it.
Not every mother can do it. Yes, I agree. But it's like having that option. You should have that option going into adulthood. If you
right.
I feel you.
Hold on, Watts got something to say. Watts been holding his finger for a minute. He been like, can I tap in here?
Yeah,
and we'll get to the super chats. I don't want y'all to think we're not seeing them. We will read the super chats at the end.
That is exactly what I was about to do,
Let's do
Sandra. I was about to tie it back in because I wanted to get back into the conversation because I wanted to ask you something, both of you, Vibe and Sandra. So let's get off of children.
Yeah. Let's get off that. I'm with it. Yeah.
Because we're gonna go around. We're gonna go around in circles.
That's why I said you can't fix any of it at the end of the day.
Look what we got in store, man.
Yes, and we can agree to disagree at this point. But one thing that I wanted to ask you two specifically is the topic of doctors, because Albert He super chatted $10. Shout out to Albert. He said, well, my question to the brother is, if you don't trust doctors or lawyers that are professionals in their field, who do you trust? And also, I have a question to add on to that, because you guys say that you don't go to the doctors. I'm not gonna you don't go to doctors, and that kind of that
I say I wish I could get like him and not have to go to the doctor.
Okay, got you. My bad. All right, but Bob, I'm not gonna lie, that does worry me, because I have a mother who had breast cancer 3 times, and if she didn't catch it when she caught it, I mean, I wouldn't have a mom right now, essentially. So at what point do you break down and say, okay, maybe I need to go see a doctor? Like, are there any doctors that you actually trust? And do you think all doctors that go through med school and go through all of this training, do you think they're specifically in it for the money?
So I don't go to the doctor annually, as I was mentioning. I don't have an annually doctor that I go to, but there are certain things that I have to get physical for when I'm trying to do certain things. So I have to go through that process. But every time I go through that process, it's always a situation where they'll tell me something that can easily be fixed with something, but they always want to push these pills on me. I ask questions like, okay, I understand the pills and what they do. I want to know what's in them, but can you tell me if there's something that I can take that is not this? Oh, no, you want to stick to this. Don't think about the holistic stuff. But I'm saying, but what you're saying is super minor. And I think that, potassium, I can eat some fucking bananas. I mean, I can get things like that through that. I don't have to pop a pill for that.
See, but even then, there's layers to that, because if you only eat bananas, you're consuming a lot of sugar.
No, that's true, and I understand that too. Raising your blood pressure, raising your A1C or whatever the fuck it's called, whatever. But I understand all that. I know it's balanced to everything. But pills and stuff that they push on you to stay on doesn't always fix the issue either, because the side effects, we all have heard about the side effects that happen with such and such and such. Listen, they have my mom on 65 different pills taking a day. 1.65.
Do you think that if she didn't have them, though, that would be better?
No, she's better now that she's not taking them. She's
way better. Or is it possible that she was taking them and it helped, and now she don't need them?
No.
Possible?
No, it's not possible. It's not possible. You want me to tell you why it's not possible? Because none of the doctors was cross-referencing what the pills were doing. My mother ended up having a heart attack from taking all of them damn pills, because the doctors wasn't cross-referencing what one doctor was giving her, what another doctor was giving her. So that's what I'm saying.
Wait, did she
are you sure? Yeah, are you sure that the pills were a result of her heart attack? Are you like 1,000% sure of that?
1,000% sure that the doctors told her that she needed to stop taking. Because the doctors
and causation are a thing.
Yeah, because doctors told her that some of these pills are affecting other pills, causing her body to react a certain way, and that's when she started removing herself and the pills and stuff that she was taking. Now she's down to 4 pills a day. 4 pills that she thinks she really needs, and I'm okay with that. I was never okay with the 60+ pills they had around. 4 of this, 3 of that, 2 of these. Like, I never was okay with that. But at the end of the day, I don't have any problems that I know of, and I think the last physical I had was about 1.5 years, because I had a car wreck that I was in, and then I had to go for physicals and stuff after that. But regardless of the fact that I go to the doctors when I break something, or if I burn something, I can't fix that at home. But I'm not going to the doctors because I had a hot flash. You know what I'm saying? I need to run to the doctor. I'm not. I got hot all of a sudden. No, I'm not running to the doctor because I'm not a sick-minded mentality. If anything, if I get an infection, I don't say I'm sick. It's just fact. I got an infection. We all get infections. Being sick is being on your damn deathbed. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doctors to that extent where if something's wrong and broken, you need to get your ass to the doctor. Go. If you're in a car wreck, don't go to the hospital.
So you trust doctors?
I'm not saying.
That's what I was about to say. So to an extent, you do trust doctors.
So what I'm saying is, I trust people who know how to fix you in the emergency situations. I don't trust those personal doctors that you have to go to once a month because all they doing is just charging you, and they dumping medicine.
Need it.
I was about to say.
People that do that. All right, do you go to the doctor monthly? Do you go to anyone of you go to the doctor monthly?
No, vibe. Like I got you, right? All right. So. Me personally, I mean, to an extent, I do agree with you that you should not have to go to the doctor all the time if you do not have any like pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, major illnesses. Yes.
Yes. However, so my father has Parkinson's.
He has to go to the doctor.
He has to go to the doctor.
That makes sense.
He's on multiple. Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what we're saying. So like somebody like me. Even when I get sick, when I have a cold, like I know what to do. I know how to handle it. I'm not gonna go to a doctor because I know exactly what the fuck they're gonna tell me.
Exactly.
So if that's what you're saying, I completely understand.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm
only
saying.
go for
That
physicals.
I'm saying that right there. I'm not saying I'm talking about the people who constantly go to they feel like their skin is getting a rash. I'm going to the doctor. You know, like like that. Yeah.
With logic is saying most of the people, I mean, unless we're talking about like hypochondriacs, but most of the people
Most
that
people
go to the doctor like monthly or every other month or whatever, it's usually because they have to or something is seriously wrong.
Yeah, nobody like healthy people don't
Yeah.
go to the doctor
The
regularly.
doctor's not fun.
For some people, it
I will
is.
say this. I will say this though.
Shame.
You know, you should have a little healthy. You should have a healthy bit of skepticism every time you
Yeah,
meet
for
up
sure.
with any
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
individuals, right? Because you know, there are doctors that will literally try to prescribe you as much as they can because they get a kickback. Right? They get a kickback from those pharmaceutical companies. That's why they send the young women with the briefcase into those hospitals, into those doctors' offices to tell them, hey, this is the drug we want you to start pushing. All right? They're no better than your trappers on the block pushing weights. Okay? It's the same concept. And so this just goes back to what I was saying. You know, as much as y'all might look at me and say I'm a conspiracy theorist or I think that there's a big cabal going on or whatever, I'm not ashamed to say it. I do believe that a lot of these different things that we're talking about are manufactured specifically for the purposes of harming us. Okay, whether that's harming our wallets, harming us physically, because you know, even if you're thinking about the pharmaceuticals and the doctors and stuff like that, they will prescribe you some shit and you will start having all these side effects, and guess what they'll do? They'll prescribe you something else for the side effects.
Something else for the side effects, yeah.
And then you get some side effects from that, and then they'll be like, hey, we got something for that too. And it's just a never, and the next thing you know, you're having, you know, you have to get the little organizer for your pills because you got to, you know, organize it. Okay, today's Thursday. I need to take my Thursday pills, and it's a bunch
Something
of
Shannon
bullshit.
Sharp is doing right now, I'm assuming, because he's 50.
Just wonder
he's
what
taking his Metamucil. He's taking his Metamucil and and his prune juice.
All right, so we have another super chat. Oh, go ahead.
No. You can read it.
The super chat said no adult has the same taste and state of mind they did as a child. A kid must grow into his or her own naturally.
It was some super chats before the ones y'all read too.
Oh, damn.
Albert's choice
Did we
was
miss
coming
him?
through. Albert's choice was coming through. Now, Albert,
Yo.
I don't know if you're still in the chat. But where do I know you from? I know I've seen you not just
Watch
in
chat.
Hey,
No,
he's one of my supporters.
I've seen him before.
Oh, really?
What? Were you in Lucas's chat? Like, I feel like I've seen you somewhere else. Albert, I hope you're still in the chat. You can let me know where I've seen you before because I've seen
Albert the GOAT, man.
Shout out to Albert.
But he's been blessed in the stream, okay? And I want to show him some love. I didn't want to stop the conversation, you know, because we was vibing, we was flowing, fun. But yeah, what's good? And I've been thinking this every single time I see you. I'm like, I know I've seen you other places, and I can't figure out where outside of Watts because that's the most recent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in the chat, let me know. Were you in the Lucas's chat or like some of these, you know, red pill content? Like where have I seen you before? Because it's been bothering me for like months now, and it shouldn't be.
My bad. I was just gonna say, I just wonder what y'all think would be happening if these people didn't have medication. Like, I like the thought that like these people be better off without the medication is just not proven in any way.
Logic. You know, I really like you, my guy. I like you. You one of those guys that I can conversation with, man, because it's
you cut out. You said one of those guys. What?
No, I say you one of them guys that I like to have those long conversations with. I see why you and why I say y'all have long conversations, because you expound on the conversation versus just letting things sit. So no, I definitely agree with what you're asking. Like, what would people do if they didn't have the medications? To be totally honest, I think we'll have more dead people than we have now. Medications keep people alive with the same illnesses. I don't think that the medication makes you comfortable with the illness. It doesn't cure anything. And I understand that medicine is not always meant to cure something, but also medicine is also prescribed to keep you coming back. Just like a McDonald's burger tastes the way it tastes for certain people to have people coming back. The fries is better at McDonald's than Wendy's because McDonald's designed their fries to have you coming back. You know,
That's for me.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, But I mean, yeah, the goal. Go ahead.
The goal is repeat customers, bro. Like if
but the goal is to cure, because you know what, my thing is, it's like, why would we have cured things in the past and then just say we ain't curing stuff no more? I don't think that.
Hold on, name one thing that we've cured. Name one thing that
polio.
We didn't cure none of that stuff. They evolved in something else. They evolved into something. No, they don't exist in that form. They just like the flu doesn't exist. The average flu doesn't. We have COVID now. Like,
the average. I just had the average flu. That nigga was knocking on my door 4 months ago.
But that's all I'm saying. Things evolve, bro. Because what we are adaptive humans. Once things don't work, my child mother died when my child was 12 of sickle cell anemia. Right?
Damn,
she died.
Bro.
Now, you want to sit here and tell me that sickle cell anemia is one of the worst things a black person can have, right? I mean, we all can agree with that.
I don't have it.
Right.
It's pretty. It's
bad. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah. But it's bad for certain people in certain certain climates. If my daughter mother lived in Africa, it wouldn't be as bad. But due to the fact she lived in a colder climate, it was worse. You know, but what happened was when she was 12, she started going to the hospital for her sickness, and the first thing they started doing to a 12-year-old was doping her up on morphine. They didn't figure out any other way, but they started pumping her full of morphine, so she was pretty much addicted to morphine up until she died, right? Because she didn't know anything else. She started feeling pain. She'll go to the hospital and hey, I need you to help me out. I'm in pain. So the question is it the morphine that she wanted, or is it the actual illness that was causing that she actually had? At this point, we don't know, because the doctors are telling me, hey, we think she's addicted to pain meds. Well, you've been fucking giving to him since she was 12. What you want a 12-year-old to do? Like,
some people more susceptible to addiction than others.
Everybody's susceptible to addiction, man. We all addicted to something.
Yeah, that's why I said more. That's why I said more.
No, everybody's addicted to something. Now, it may not be drugs. It could be porn. It could be food. More
susceptible to addict. Okay.
So everybody's addicted to something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But he's saying there are people out here that have a more addictive personality than others. That's all.
We're all addicted to something.
Nah,
but not to a large degree. Not to a large degree.
No, I think the disconnect is that what you're addicted to, it has negative or positive connotations.
There you go. Yes.
Going to the gym 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're addicted, but nobody's going to characterize it that way because they're seeing it as, this is something that's positive or whatever.
Exactly.
May be.
Yes, I think we all agree on that. I was just talking about drugs. That's what
there we go. Now we're talking about drugs, then that's a different story. Yes, some people are. Like I can drink. Drinking is just horrible for me. I can't. But I used to smoke a whole lot of damn weed. I don't anymore because I broke that addiction. I realized they started selling us crack. So on that basis, I said forget it. I'm not smoking that stuff no more, right? But then I've never done any hard drugs. I never did coke, never did crack. My dad was a crackhead. But hey, at the end of the day, he didn't make me one.
So wait, real quick. I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
So you said you were constantly smoking weed, right?
Yeah.
But you had the wherewithal to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. The fact that you were able to, discard it so easily, does that mean that you were addicted then?
First of all, one of the terms my wife talk about all the time, they say you're always a recovering addict. I disagree with that. I disagree with the recovering addict notion because they're always trying to make that your drug is more powerful than you are. I disagree with that. Everybody has the wherewithal to stop doing whatever they want to do. But that just means you're going to pick up something else to do. That's all it is. I stopped smoking weed, but I eat a lot more fucking sugar now. You know what I'm saying? Which is an addiction within itself. People stop drinking and they
definitely an addiction.
Yeah. So people, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is we always going to put down something to pick something else up because we can't be bored. We can't not be doing something that creates a dopamine hit to our brains. And regardless if you disagree with me or not, those are the principles I stand on when it comes to that we all fuck people. We just managed to do our fucked upness in a less derogatory way that actually don't hit as hard as some other people. I don't judge a crackhead no more because a crackhead is just a person dealing with
his current circumstances. No, I totally agree.
You see what I'm saying?
This is an interesting conversation though, because then I'm like, okay, well, what really serves as an addiction? Like I'm a gamer. Like I love video games.
You're addicted. It's not a bad addiction though. It's not a bad addiction.
The problem is The problem is that we created this connotation around addiction where we only want to call it addictive.
So what's the difference?
We only want to call something an addiction when it's something that we think is bad, right? So it's like, you could be addicted to things, and because it's not something that is taboo, people won't call it an addiction, but it truly is an addiction nonetheless. It behaves the same way.
Yeah, it behaves the same way. So
what is the definition of an addiction? Because my wife said something in the chat that literally what I was about to say. She said, "But if I was addicted to gaming, I wouldn't be able to work because that's not true.
You're a functioning gamer, but you're still addicted. So there's function, like you're functioning addict. You're a functioning addict. You know for sure that you have a threshold that you not break. There's sometimes your woman wanted you to come spend time with her, like I want, baby. We've all been there. But if you wasn't an addict, you would probably play one game, or you maybe get your one.
I think y'all conflating that word. Like I like.
All right, that's understood. That's understood.
I think that when we use addiction, you can be addicted to something that's good. Like she said, the gym. I think the connotation with addiction means it's intrusive in your life. I don't think it just means you enjoy doing something a lot. I think when you literally embedded in the word addiction, you the way we use it, it means it's intrusive into your life. It's a hindrance to you. It's even if it can be good, it's causing you harm. Like,
but see, that's subjective. That's subjective because
I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying that's the way we use the word. That's the way we use it. Usually is what I'm saying. Because y'all saying he addicted to gaming, he could just like it. You know what I'm saying? It's not intrusive on his life.
Because I don't game every day.
What you say, intrusiveness, right? Like I said, all of that is subjective, right? Because if we think about like the time that you have, I could list out a bunch of things that you could be doing instead of gaming that would be bettering your life, right?
So let me ask you a question real quick. But the definition, there's two: physically and mentally dependent on. So you're not dependent on gaming, right? You're not dependent on it. But you would say that you enthusiastically are devoted to gaming or to a particular thing or activity because you continuously do it over and over. The reason why something becomes addiction is due to the fact on this basis, right? If you can do it once and never do it again, it's never addiction. It's not an addiction. It's just something you experienced. But due to the fact that you need to experience that dopamine hit over and over, makes it what it is.
I don't know. I think the word is being conflated as well, because I can name thousands of things that we do constantly that can, by both of your definitions, that could be listed as addictions. Like,
name something.
Me playing baseball. I loved baseball.
Yeah, you're still addicted to it. You're addicted. You're addicted.
Why do we have to call it
addictive? The problem is that we're looking at addiction as always something that's always
negative.
No,
it doesn't have to be negative.
It's not even necessarily that it has to be negative. I'm just saying I agree with Logic's definition where it's something intrusive. Like, a lot of the things that I like are not intrusive to my life personally. I like video games, like me watching sports or whatever. They do not stop me from doing all the important things that I need to be doing in my life, like handling my responsibilities, spending time with my wife, getting this money on YouTube. You feel me?
Yeah.
The
thing is, we don't have to use that word. Is what it like.
Yeah.
You can say like you really love. I'll even take like you obsessed with something. Like you can say I'm obsessed with shoes. I wouldn't care.
But you're using all the words that go along as an adjective to that thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how are you going to pick and choose that means the same thing?
What's the necessity of saying you're addicted? Like, what? That's what I'm saying. Like, why that word?
I feel like it also diminishes people who have actual addiction.
Because if you're using the word addicted in all these scenarios, that's like saying Watts is addicted to video games, like somebody that's addicted to crack. And those things.
Boom. No. That's what. Let's have that, because I know we got to wrap this up, right? I know we got to wrap this up. But let's the
topic.
I know, but let's go ahead and have this conversation real quick, because you just made the perfect point. You're the exact person that would judge a person for doing crack. But you just did. You literally just did. You said, "What's the difference between him smoking?"
Difference doesn't mean
You just said, "What's the difference between him playing a video game and a person crack?" So you're making a subjective description of something that's good and something that's bad. That's exactly what you just did. So you're judging something.
In the definition, it's harm. I'm
No,
not.
but see, I'm saying I don't. But what I'm saying, I don't judge an addict for what they do.
It's not about judging. It's not about judging. It's the effect of causing harm into your life, is what I'm saying.
How does it cause harm? How does
it does? How does people that take crack all the time and it's not harming them?
All right, so how does someone who smokes crack harming their life?
If it does, I said if it does.
But how does it?
If they go smoke crack instead of going to work and they get fired,
that's not harming their life. That's not harming their life.
If
that's not harming their life, that's their choice.
If they're losing their income,
that's your perception of what their life should be.
It would be based on them, but I'm saying it's not like if it's harming them, I could.
But you can't say what's harming someone if you're not that person.
I'm basing it off of their situation.
But you can't base it. But you can't base it off their situation.
Saying nobody's harming themselves with this argument. I'm saying that
we're not bringing up.
So there's no repercussions to actions that people do.
No, let me tell you this. Yesterday, I seen a video of a dude stealing somebody's PlayStation. He wasn't a crackhead. He was just taking a PlayStation because he wanted the game. That's harming someone's life. That's being intrusive to someone's life by taking something of theirs.
But he was addicted to anything.
But he obviously addicted to the game, and he stole a game because he wanted to play it. But somebody who's smoking crack, who can afford their habit, who didn't do anything to anybody to get it, how are they harming their life?
You just made there can be other things going on. There's not like a finite. This is where your life is being harmed, and this. All right,
let me put it like this. Then let me put it like this: Is a prostitute more of a prostitute because she suck 100 penises in a night, or is she more of a prostitute if she suck 100 penises over a year?
It's about the profession. It's not about how many.
Okay, so you look at a prostitute as a prostitute no matter how many penises she suck.
Yes, that doesn't matter.
I mean, if you are selling your body for
one a year, she does, then that's just what it is.
All right, so if a chick, let's say she's not a prostitute, she just like to have sex, has sex with 100 guys in one night versus the girl who has sex with 100 guys over a year, which one is more of a thought?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Honestly, they're in the same boat to me.
Right. The reason why I say this is because I agree with you, Watts. There's no difference in somebody who's having sex with 100 people in one night versus having sex with 100 people over a year. The same way there's no difference than a person who wants to smoke crack all day and a person who wants to play a video game all day. It ain't no fucking... They all just using their time how they want to.
Two different activities to two same activities.
Activities doesn't matter, bro. Activities doesn't.
You just compared crack to video game but your other examples was both about sex. Both of them.
Let's say one girl has sex and the other girl fucking play football all year. It doesn't matter. Activity, how you spend your time shouldn't be judged outside if it's not intrusive on someone else's life. A crackhead is not an issue. A crackhead person or a drug addict is not an issue to anybody unless they start to intrude on someone's lifestyle.
But that happens a lot. It happens a lot.
It happens a lot in anything, but you can't say that they have a horrible life or that's a bad thing to call someone else an addict for video gaming because there are criminals who video game too.
The argument isn't us deeming it upon our worldview, it's their circumstance.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying because a nigga games a nigga that games for 100 hours and feels productive and is living a happy life upon his parameters, I won't say he's addicted if everything's going away to his accordance.
Okay, same thing with the crackhead.
The person that I said gaming. I said the man that plays the game for hundreds of hours a week, but he's unhappy within his life, and it's because he's playing the game. He's addicted. That's the difference. I'm talking about their own well-being upon what they see as happiness. It's not about my perception of it. It's about what they need and what's making them happy. People take painkillers all the time and live a productive life. I don't consider that addiction. When your life to what your standard is and what you need to be doing is unproductive for you, then you're addicted.
So healthdirect.gov says addiction is when you have a strong physical or psychological need or urge to do something or use something. That's why I say we need to be careful what we call an addiction, because if I'm using gaming as an example, I don't have a strong physical or psychological need to game. There are a lot of days that I do not game, and I think us calling everything an addiction really diminishes those people that are actually addicted to substances or corn or whatever the fuck.
Well, see, here's the thing, though.
corn.
Most people that are addicted
Yeah,
won't tell you that they're addicted. Most people who are addicted to things, they will tell you, "I'm not addicted." But
Well, they
Fine.
I mean, yeah, that's
whether or
that's
not
fine.
you, whether so it's like you could say, "Oh, I'm not addicted," but how do you know?
Right? Final thoughts on this whole on everything we talked about.
I gotta tuck my daughter in. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, you're straight.
Yeah, we don't went over time, but like 40 minutes. We were supposed to be off this thing
40 minutes.
ago.
That was a good
Take
conversation.
my ass to bed.
Yeah, this is a good conversation.
So final thoughts for me. Final thoughts for me on final
Shannon
thoughts. This
Sharp?
makes no sense. Final thoughts. This makes no sense. My overall final thoughts on all of this was great conversation, great to know you guys, and I don't know where we started and how we. And I stand on we are all addicted to something.
All right. Final thoughts. Skip. Lakers in 5. Skip. Let me tell you something. Skip. Shannon Sharp need to stop fucking with these young women. Get you a nice 40. Hell, even a 30-year-old at this point gets
I would agree.
more
That's
mature.
what I said. 30, bro.
Yeah, even in the 30s, just leave them. And there are a lot of women out here in their 30s that look good. My wife is one of them. All right, Shannon, you can't have her, but you understand what I'm saying.
Definitely can't have mine, but
Yeah.
there we go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, just and stop paying. You don't have to pay anybody for intercourse, bro. You fucking Shannon Sharp. Act like it.
That's what I'm saying. Damn, bro, you're Shannon Sharp. You ain't gotta pay these women. You're a sim. You're a sim. Go ahead. I think Sandra next. I see Sandra.
All right. Final thoughts. Yes, there is a cabal, and it's much bigger than everybody thinks. This is a simulation. Okay, we're living in a simulation, and these things are curated to keep us all interested and give us something to do and talk about. Yeah. I'm okay with wearing the tin hat foil or whatever they call it or whatever. I'm cool with that. But I think this is a good conversation, and whether or not I agree with y'all's positions is irrelevant. I do respect it, okay? I have respect for your opinion. I might not agree with it, but I respect your ability to have that opinion.
Hey, fuck you, Rasta.
Rasta said you got 80-year-old balls and shit.
Fuck you.
That's crazy.
So you like
final thoughts is Shannon's tweaking. I don't if that didn't happen to him, I hope he can recover. I really do. If it didn't happen. If he did, he should be punished to the fullest extent. I wish it would be jail time if he did what she's saying
I agree.
did versus just this payout. But if not, I hope he can recover because this is fucked up. Nigga, you 30 is young for you and 30 is troublesome, I'm sure, in most cases. As far as everything else, we went so off tangent, but I think that's a good thing. That means we was all enjoying ourselves and having a good conversation. No matter where it went, everybody rolled with it. It was what it was. You know, we all got clips we could post, man. And I think this is a good insight into what we gonna have in the pipeline. This is where I feel like all of us thrive because everybody was in this shit. So I think we all been wanting to do something like this and we all enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
No matter what, man, I fuck with y'all. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Thanks for all the super chats. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, can't wait till next week.
Let's go. Talk to y'all later.
Just last thing. In the description box below, you will see all of their channels. Go ahead and subscribe, watch their content. Okay, show them some love. I think we're still floating around the idea of hosting this on each other's channels, right? So like this week we had it on my channel. Next week it might be on Vibe channel or Logic's or Watts. So make sure you stay in the know by being subscribed to all of us. Or else you're going to miss out on all this good tea, all this good conversation, okay? So show everybody some love. And yes, we will be here again on Thursday. And yeah, we'll keep it rocking. We'll find something else to go off on tangents about.
Y'all have a great one.
Have a good one,
All
guys.
right, y'all.
All right, deuces.